If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Oh, baby. Let's do it live on a New Year's Eve edition of the program. I am here. Reese is here. Cole is here. Coming up at 9:30, Bill Bender will join the program. At 10 o'clock, we hit you with the real truth. 10:30, Dom will stop by. We'll regale you with tales of Rose Bowls past. From that point on, at 11 o'clock, we'll hit a little bit of the NFL Blitz. Steph Odie going to join us live from Los Angeles at 11:17. You're going to have a Ryan Day press conference with Chip Kelly, the final head coaches press conference. That'll be at 11:30. Jody Shelley with a little bit of Shelley time coming up at 11:30 as well. This is the Rose Bowl. Right. This is it. I would say that in terms of like getting the aesthetic right, the Rose Bowl, Augusta National, maybe the Kentucky Derby, a handful of other things, maybe the Monaco Grand Prix. There's very few things in the sports world that get the aesthetic absolutely perfect. The Rose Bowl is absolutely one of them. The Masters is absolutely one of them. I would have those two things walk hand in hand. And in terms of the sports world, what I mean by that is when you turn it on, it is instantly recognizable. There's the sun setting over the San Gabriels. There is the way that it goes from sun to dark, the way that they paint the end zones, the way that they put roses on various parts of the jerseys or helmets. Ohio State's scarlet stripe in its helmet has roses that are inside the striping. So there is just these little touches that the Rose Bowl gets absolutely right. And for most of you, it will feel very much like a Rose Bowl. And by God, the Rose Bowl's acting like it's the Rose Bowl. They're having the Tournament of Roses parade. They're saying we're playing at 5 o'clock. We don't care what it does to the game in the Sugar Bowl. Not really caring if you're going to kick that thing at 9 o'clock or not. We're going to kick this thing at 5 o'clock, and that's the way that we're going to do it. I would imagine the administrators at Ohio State and Oregon are being treated to a Rose Bowl. And what I mean by that is the full pomp and circumstance that goes with it, the white tablecloths, the Marriott points, and so forth and so on. The players are not getting a Rose Bowl. Not in any way, shape, or form. They're getting a 3-day trip, a bunch of media availability that's crammed into a couple of days, and then they're going to play a game. And when they win that game, they are not going to have some grand celebration. They're going to try. They're going to do it for the look of it. They're going to try to have some grand celebration. But the reality is you win this game, you say, who's next? And by then you'll know that when you win this game, you're going to have to go play Texas. You're going to have to go play them in the Cotton Bowl. This is the slippery slope that the sport is in right now. It is beholden to these bowls because they've greased the wheels for 50 years. And the calendar of the bowls makes no damn sense to the way that the sport is being played right now. And so the players have this notion of they've had no time off. They are NFL players right now. And your counter could be, look, they're making NIL. They are, but they're not being paid by the university. They're not being paid by ESPN. And they're NFL players. They didn't enjoy a Christmas. They didn't have that. They may have had the day off. That's it. Maybe Christmas Eve night off. That's it. They're not getting some grand vacation at the end of this Rose Bowl. Guys, when in the old days, and I covered so many of these, I've honestly lost count, at least 15, 20 of these. I've covered every one of the BCS games. And when we would do it, we would fly out the day after Christmas, the morning after Christmas, and then you would be there for that entire stretch. And so, too, would the team. And it was a vacation. They'd put the team up at a posh resort. I mean, Scottsdale, it was the Fairmont Princess. The media hotel for the Fiesta Bowl is the JW Marriott Camelback. Every room in that place is a casita. It's like an apartment. It's like going to a resort. It's not like going to a resort. It's going to a resort. That's what it's like in those places. And the same would be true of Miami with the Orange Bowl. The same would be true of the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, and absolutely true of the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles. It is a vacation, and you get an enormous reward, and you play a football game. That's the way that it used to be. Not anymore. Not anymore. You're going to play this game, and then you're going to have to go play Texas the next week, and that's the way it's going to go. And it's a strange damn thing to see how the bowls are behaving as if time has stood still. And the reason that's been the case is they've done a very good job over all these years of treating the media very well, of treating administrators very well. And the people who run the CFP don't want this stuff to go. It's like the last bastion that they're holding on to. This last glimmer of what the sport used to be is this New Year's Day, New Year's Eve stuff. The thing that's crazy about it is they didn't even have the common sense to just put 2 games today and not kick Georgia Notre Dame at what's going to amount to be 9 o'clock. So when people ask me, you ready for the Rose Bowl? I guess, but it's kind of a crazy thing, and I'm a little backwards when it comes to my calendar. This has been an odd stretch to play that Tennessee game, have the holidays, and then play a Rose Bowl, and then, you're not done, and then, you're not done after that. I can't imagine what it's like being a coach, player, support staff at Ohio State right now, at one of these teams that's still playing that also played a first game. So does it feel like the Rose Bowl? Yeah, I think it will when I turn it on tomorrow afternoon, but the rest of it doesn't feel like that at all. Reese, you were here yesterday. Cole been here throughout. What has this felt like for you guys?
Weird. It's not felt like a traditional Ohio State game day, but this is all new for everybody. And I was wondering, not that you need to feel bad for those fossils and the nice coats that go around and give formal invites to coaches after they've won first-round CFP matchups to come to our traditional bowl game, and the coach begrudgingly accepts because what the hell with pomp and circumstance. But when James Franklin, a prominent coach in the game, is up there saying, we've got to move the calendar, does the Rose Bowl look to say, well, you're not moving us? Because unfortunately for the Rose Bowl, if you'd like to be part of the college football playoff, yes, in fact, you will be. So this isn't anything traditional in any sense of the imagination. And you hit it right on the head with these players. Sure, they're looking at a Rose Bowl. Fine. Sure, they're looking at a rematch against Oregon. Fine. But the idea is you have to win this game to move on, to continue your season. After on a Thursday morning, likely when we're talking about a Rose Bowl win, it's on to the next.
Yeah.
There's no real time to sit there, have the rose in your mouth, and celebrate everything, but for 10 minutes when you're receiving the Rose Bowl trophy.
For me, one of the biggest differences has been the week and a half gaps opposed to 1 week gaps in between games has felt like forever. Because
I agree with you.
You know, obviously, way back in the day when you just had a bowl game and they didn't even have conference championship games. I'm thinking back to like 06. The gap between Ohio State, Michigan, and Ohio State, Florida was 53 days, which sounds ridiculous, but, you know, mentally we're kind of programmed now in playoff mode. We're expecting it to be just quick hitters one after the other. And this week and a half gap, it feels like forever ago since the Tennessee game. Like, it was a long wait. And then the next round, I believe, will be another week and a half until the semifinals. So that's been a huge difference for me.
You're right. Boy, I didn't think of it until you said it the way that you said it, because I covered the Ohio State-Florida game from the other side of it that year. But the next year I covered Ohio State-LSU from this side of it. And they won the Michigan game the week after losing to Illinois. And they didn't play that national championship game against LSU, I want to say, until January 9th or something like that. January 7th or 8th or 9th. And it was 50, like what you said. It's 50 days between games. I mean, you get a true break. There's none of that that's happening now. It's a wild thing. And by the way, if you've noticed, if you are in the desert and you're listening to us and you're thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do for New Year's Eve, you could walk in to the Fiesta Bowl for $40. Come on in. We'll take you. Our tickets are expensive. I don't believe the tickets on the Texas-Arizona State. I'm on ESPN right now. They're saying those tickets are $17.40 in Atlanta for Texas-Arizona State. That's the lowest ticket. That makes no sense to me. Ours is $321 is the lowest. You can go to Notre Dame, Georgia for $40 tomorrow night. $40.
Cole, how quickly can you make it to Atlanta?
You get there for $40, buddy.
Got to catch a jet.
Tomorrow morning, walk right in. Just catch a plane. A lot of direct flights. You and Bodie. We ought to do that as a station. That's what we ought to do. We ought to do that. We ought to have you guys go be correspondents, get a late press credential, and send you guys down Fish is off, so he can't even yell at me for recommending this online or live on the air because he's sick, of course. But, you're talking 8:40. You could fly in the morning, and you guys could both go for $40.
There is a non-zero chance Ohio State and Notre Dame lock horns in the championship. I'm not predicting it to happen. I'm just saying there's a non-zero chance that does happen. So we got to have a whole station outing down there. Where's that one, Atlanta?
That's Atlanta, too, yeah.
There we go.
Back. We'll be right back. Lots to get to. They're going to play that game. When you turn it on, it's going to look great. You're going to be in suspension to disbelief for 4 hours. You think it's going to be just the Rose Bowl, and then afterwards you're going to, oh, my God, we got to play Texas after that. We'll continue to prep you for that as the program goes along. You'll hear from Chip Kelly and Ryan Day on their attack against this Oregon team. They were really good last time around. Remember, it wasn't the offense that failed last time around. You'll hear from both of those guys. Then Bill Bender going to join us coming up at 9:30. We're off and running on a Tuesday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Open a Platinum Rewards Visa at Kemba Financial Credit Union and secure super low everyday rates so you can pay down debt faster. Apply now at Kemba.org to unlock 2% cash back on purchases for a limited time and pay 0% interest for a full year on balance transfers plus exclusive perks. Restrictions apply. Offer ends October 31st, 2024.
Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward here, and last time this year I was down 43 pounds after just 2 months with Awaken 180. I broke into the new year at my goal of 50 pounds down. It felt great, and it still does. Get the same results at awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm Rick Reichert, and Reichert Ford is cranking things up for the year-end spectacular, and we're dealing. It's our biggest sale of the year. Lease a new 2024 hybrid F-150 for just $499 a month for 36 months, zero down. Lease a new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months, also zero down. We're stacking them deep and selling them cheap. No other dealer in Columbus, in Ohio, or the entire United States is dealing like this, period. One of the largest Ford inventories in America, and it's all on sale. Get to the year-end spectacular. The grand finale of 2024 ends Thursday, January 2nd, only at Reichert Ford, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio, at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2023 Ford report for total new retail sales. Cincinnati region. Offers end January 2nd on approved credit. No security deposit required. Come in now, because we're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
After years of practice, QC Kinetics medical director and founder of Grant Sports Medicine, Dr. Ray Tesner, is still amazed at the body's ability to heal and provide relief for itself.
To a certain extent, we've always understood or been amazed by the wonders of the human body and the capabilities that we have as human beings to heal ourselves, and being able to use those tools that God gave us and condense them and use them as opposed to synthetic materials.
QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments have helped deliver long-term relief to aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs around the country, but especially right here in Dublin and Gahanna.
The materials that our body has are the most effective and the safest to use, so being able to concentrate those and deliver those in a concentrated form to the direct area of problem only makes sense, and it's a nice tool to have.
Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. How much income will you need to retire? Let us help make sure you reach your financial goals. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. Doppler radar shows some heavy rainfall moving into the area right now. The heaviest of rain will end by 10 o'clock this morning, and then we're going to be looking at a slightly drier afternoon. Snow flurries tonight with a low of 34. Snow flurries tomorrow, high 38. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
And get you ready for the Rose Bowl with the Fan 10 TV and 10 TV Plus this New Year's Day. Here's a lineup to make the most of your day. Fan pregame and tailgate shows 11:30 to 3:30. The Fan and Fan app streaming live on 10 TV Plus and the Fan's YouTube channel. Then live Rose Bowl coverage starting at 5 o'clock. Turn down the TV sound, turn up the Fan to hear Paul and Jim live from the Rose Bowl. Brought to you by the home of the Buckeyes, the Fan 10 TV and streaming on 10 TV Plus. Now, I'm curious why that promo doesn't mention that the Juice is going to be on at 6 with Bob and Beam, and that we're going to be here tomorrow from 9 to 11:30. I mean, all of those things are happening. We're going to be here, getting you set. It really starts at 6 a.m., if we're being honest. Now, there might not be a 10 TV crossover the whole time, but I mean, we're here. We're going to be here, so that, you know, be ready. We got you covered. People are upset with me, Reese, about my
Well, Texas doesn't just have a bye into the semifinals. They have to play Arizona State.
So I'm being quite dismissive of Arizona State. I'll acknowledge it. Texas is a 13-point favorite. Now, crazy things happen, you know, in these things. But I think one thing we learned in round one of the college football playoff is that, quite honestly, talent equates. And there wasn't anything that happened in round one that was even in the vicinity of an upset. The teams that were supposed to win did, and did so decisively. There wasn't any of them. I mean, Notre Dame wasn't even 10. It was 10 technically, but they were much better than that over Indiana. Ohio State was 42-17. Really could have been 56, quite honestly, to nothing. Texas pulled away from Clemson, and Penn State buried the beloved ponies. So this thing has gone in a way where the chalk has moved on easily. There are two games in this playoff and there's a reason that they're being played when they're being played. They're going to have a great deal of interest and very competitive. At least that's the thinking of the folks in the desert, and that can be reflected in the lines. We are a 2.5-point favorite over Oregon, and Georgia is a 1-point favorite over Notre Dame. Texas is up to 13, and the Penn State game tonight is 11.5 over Boise State. So there's a reason for that stuff. They don't get that stuff wrong very often. It can happen, but it doesn't happen all that often. And one of the reasons that I think that it will become even easier and easier to project how this thing is going to go by the time we go week to week is something that we talked about all the way back in the summer. We've talked about it through much of the season. It was depth of talent. It's not good enough to have a start. You need dudes behind dudes to survive this. It is so many games. It's no rest. It's who can be upright by the time we get to January 20th, which is hard to believe that's how much we're going to have to go if you actually play for a national title. Ryan Day was on Big Ten Network yesterday and actually discussed the Buckeyes' health and their depth.
We all know how important depth is, and certain positions have been challenged in that area, and we knew that when we put everything together. But a lot of guys have had to step up in big areas, but I think it's also allowed us to be playing fast, in December now. So I feel like we have a healthy team, we have a fast team, and you just never know who needs to step up in a game like this. But I think our depth is one of our strengths.
Well, I think when and we'll get into a real full comprehensive breakdown of this coming up as we go on today, but really tomorrow will be the X's and O's side of it as we kind of dive into what advantages Ohio State may have this time, what advantages Oregon continues to have. But a lot of this storyline is going to be on the two quarterbacks. Dillon Gabriel's been sensational. He was like a video game in the Big Ten championship game the last time they played against Penn State. Will Howard was the same against Tennessee, and Howard's play versus Gabriel's in this one is going to be key. Here's Ryan Day on that.
The first thing you got to do is you got to lead. You can't have expectations coming into a game like this. Will's played in big games before he got here. He's now played in big games here at Ohio State. So he knows what it's going to take. He's got to lean on his teammates. He's got a good group around him. He's got to get our offense into a rhythm, and find the speed of the game early on, have poise, and then play his best down the stretch.
I was taking a look at the college football playoff, like the over-unders. This one is 55.5. It's the highest of the four. The next closest is the one tonight. It's 53.5 Penn State and Boise State, and then Texas is 51.5 according to ESPN Bet, and then Notre Dame and Georgia is just 45.5. I do think points are going to be scored in this one. I think both teams will score some points. It's hard for me to imagine, as good as this Buckeye defense has been, that it's just going to shut down Oregon. I just think that attack is far too lubed and far too ready to go, whereas I think the same is true of the Buckeye attack. I know Burt's going to play in this one, so it's a little bit of a difference in terms of protection, but I think perhaps something was uncovered in the Tennessee game about what you're capable of. And remember, the last time these two teams played, Ohio State went up and down the field and came up a second and a yard short. My feel on this one a day out is that the scoreboard is going to be lit up pretty good. I'm not saying Ohio State-Utah lit up, but I think there's going to be quite a bit of points scored out in Pasadena tomorrow.
Boy, 5,000 yards would be fun. Ohio State was able to throw for that in a Rose Bowl matchup. But yeah, I think with, both offenses, and the Ducks will likely have Trayshawn Holden for more than a series, pending he keeps, to himself. I didn't really know how else. Yeah, don't spit on people. I feel like it should be a very good PSA going into 2025 as we wrap this year. Like, hey, next year, let's spit on people less. Or not at all would be even greater. So I think, like, when you have people that are talking about this game and they're using a lot from what happened last time, I don't think that's an honest thing to do, because you've had for both quarterbacks only 3-4 games between the start of the season and then the first matchup, and then you've had an entire season. For those quarterbacks who are journeyman quarterbacks, Dillon's much greater of a journey, literally the Oregon Trail, but you've had time to mesh with an offense. You've had time for an offense to get comfortable with the quarterback. This will be the third offensive changeup for Ohio State. And so there's a lot of differences, similar people, but I would like to think, and I hope for Ohio State's sake, they've all grown.
Yeah, I think that is the case. I mean, the biggest difference from the Ohio State perspective from that one to this one is the defensive attitude and what they've done defensively. I mean, they were a sieve in that game out in Eugene. And that's when Ryan Day hopped in the meeting rooms and said, we got to get some things sorted out. And they've been a different defense since, and quite honestly, a suffocating defense since. But I just have way too much respect for what Oregon is offensively to think that this is going to be some low-scoring game. I think they're just too damn good. I think they'll move it, and I think you're going to have to keep up. And hopefully Ohio State can have a similar game plan that it had against Tennessee, which was to throw the ball to set up the run. This has been – I'm listening to Ryan Day on the Big Ten Network, and I'm thinking about in the lead-up to the Tennessee game how much availability they had. I've been off the last couple of days, but I think about how much availability they had both here locally and then out in Los Angeles in the lead-up to this game. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. I cannot imagine what it is like for them to have this constant. I mean, they had everybody on the team was available yesterday at Media Day. I mean, they were only there for 3 days, and they treated it like a traditional bowl Media Day. It's a crazy thing, and this isn't the end of the line. They got 2 more to play after this. It's absolutely wild. Chip actually addressed that a little bit yesterday with the Big Ten Network about the notion of, and I think this is going to be critical, is trying to find a way to stay insulated. Like they did it for the Tennessee game. Can they do it for this one? Can they just stay eye on the prize? Here's Chip on that.
It doesn't matter if they're telling you you're really good or telling you you're really bad. You really can't pay attention to it because that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. It's about the process. And if you fall in love with the process and continue to say, am I going to get a little bit better today than I was yesterday, then you're going to have an opportunity to be successful. And life is a continuum. There's not a destination for anybody. So I think as they learn that lesson, as we keep moving here, all of a sudden, we told them they'll pick your head up in January and we'll still be playing. They were like, all right, we're going to pick our head up. It's going to be January 1st. We're still playing a football game. The one thing this group needs, because they're so close, is we need to play more than one more football game, and to do that we have to win on Wednesday
and then play one after that. Yeah, so they play just so you're aware of the calendar of this, it provided there's a win tomorrow, the next game for the Buckeyes would be Friday, January 10th. So a week from Friday, that game will be played in Arlington, Texas. Provided they win that game, they would play Monday, January 20th in Atlanta. So that is what's in front of them if they are to achieve their ultimate goal. It's hard for me to wrap my head around this calendar, and now that we're in it, it's even more difficult. Bill Bender is going to join us in 2 minutes for his perspective on all of it. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BIKE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BIKE to 321-321. That's BIKE to 321-321.
Toyotathon is on, and it's the perfect time to wrap up the year with a new, stylishly affordable Corolla. Now through January 6th, you can get low-rate financing or a great lease on a new Corolla or Corolla Hybrid. Lease a gas-powered 25 Corolla LE now for $219 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Hey, everybody, it's Austin Ward here. And last time this year, I was down 43 pounds after just 2 months with Awaken 180. I broke into the new year at my goal of 50 pounds down. It felt great, and it still does. Get the same results at awaken180weightloss.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Kahana, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a New Year's Eve edition of the program. We had it on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with good buddy Bill Bender of the Sporting News. How's your calendar working with all of this?
It's been a long season, but it's almost like you're restarting today. You get into the second round of the college football playoff. As you know, I do a little NFL for us too. And you're used to one being almost done and the other really kicking into high gear. But no, super excited. I think both for all the consternation about the first round and the blowouts, all the teams, we got all the heavyweights in this round, and it should make for an awesome quarterfinal round.
Yeah, my response to a lot of that criticism was there aren't 12 great teams in college football. I mean, that's what college football's been our whole life, is there's a huge caste system. There are haves and there are have-nots. There always has been. This isn't college hoops.
Right, and I'm good with that. This would be like if we had an Elite Eight in basketball when, there is a Cinderella or two that will push through. But in general, people don't like to admit this, but you like watching Tennessee and Purdue in a 1-2 matchup in college basketball, just like you're going to like watching Oregon and Ohio State and Georgia and Notre Dame and these heavyweight fights. And that's the hard part of this round for me is teams that I think could win the national title are all playing each other: Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's that's the one thing I think they've got to address next year is they can't treat all conferences as if they're equal, because that's a tough sled. I was thinking about this from the Buckeye perspective. If they are able to, do their ultimate goal and win a national title, Bill, you're thinking about Tennessee, then you got to play Oregon, then I think likely Texas, and then Georgia, Notre Dame, or Penn State on the other side of it. I don't know that anyone in the history of the sport, well, I know no one in the history of the sport has ever had a gauntlet like that to try and win a national title.
No, for sure. And I think for Oregon, obviously not much of a reward for going 13-0.
No.
And, I mean, if we're going to value the regular season, then turn around and you play Ohio State. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited to see this rematch, and it's going to be great. But it's not fair to them. And then, of course, Penn State, who plays tonight, everybody is saying they have the easiest path. It's because they do. They should go out and beat Boise State by double digits tonight and move on to the semifinals.
I have a theory that the reason that happened is because Ward Manuel stuck his foot in his mouth. I think when he said, we are not going to penalize teams who made conference championships negatively for losing and playing an extra game for a data point, that once he did that, he almost couldn't walk it back. Because there's no scenario where Penn State's path should be easier than Ohio State's or Oregon. Both teams beat them.
Well, and I remember when we 5 through 8, and I was doing this for Sporting News the night before the playoff selection, and I was talking this through with my editor on how to rank 5 through 8. I would have ranked them 5, Ohio State 6, Penn State 7.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Or Texas 7, Penn State 8. That's probably what I would have done. And they didn't penalize Texas and Penn State. Now, Texas is a little bit of a tougher one for me because I know people are picking at them. I actually think they're really good.
Me too.
I think they're running the football very well. Their defense is awesome. And whoever wins that Ohio State-Oregon game, if it's Ohio State-Texas, I mean, what a better semifinal could you ask for?
No, that's absolutely as good as it gets. The thing the sport has tried to walk while it's gone over this incredible transformation, Bill, is trying to hold on to what history they can, and a big part of that has been the bowls. I mean, the bowl system forever. And for a lot of people, this probably feels similar. I was telling our audience off the top of the show, like, you turn this thing on tomorrow at 5:00, and it's going to feel the way that it used to. You're going to see that sunset over the San Gabriels. It's a field that looks like a fairway at Augusta National, like the way that they paint the sidelines, like all of that stuff. It's going to look like a Rose Bowl. And for the administrators in the bowl, they're going to turn them in a Roses Parade. All that stuff is going to be the way that it's always been. But for the players, it's not like that at all. They don't get the vacation in Southern California for 9 days. They don't get any of that. They get a 3-day, a bunch of media availability, and then, oh, by the way, you get that awkward thing where, like Ryan, after beating Tennessee, all of a sudden some Rose Bowl guy walks in inviting him to the Rose Bowl, and it's like, wait, the bracket's set. What are we doing?
Yeah, that was the surreal part of the Tennessee game for me. Is I think I may have said this on the station already, but when you walk through the tunnel and you see Brutus holding roses, and I had that mental, like, oh, yeah, they're going to the Rose Bowl. I totally forgot that that's how this works. But, yeah, and I still, for Big Ten guys like me that grew up around the conference, the Rose Bowl is special. It always will be. I hope it always has a place in this playoff because I just remember the first time going out there and, like, kind of walking down the tunnel and thinking about Archie and Charles White and, whoever, name them, whoever's played in this game, Vince Young running into the end zone.
Yeah.
There's so much history in that stadium. It is my favorite stadium in college football.
Well, I say this. I mean, like, if God created a place to play football, that's it.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's perfect.
For us, it is. And then it'll be such a great moment tomorrow having Oregon and Ohio State out there, the two Big Ten teams. I think it's fitting, but and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a game a lot like the first one, where they're both going to get up and down on each other a little bit. It's going to be a shootout.
I see it the same way, and so I said, like, it's going to be like a time capsule in a way, because a traditional Pac-12 team against a traditional Big Ten team in the Rose Bowl, it's going to, for those 3.5, 4 hours, however long it takes, it's going to feel like it might as well be 1987. You know, I mean, it's going to have a very similar, very nostalgic feel, I think, for a lot of folks. In terms of these 4 matchups, we have 2 games that obviously the folks out in the desert think are going to be very competitive. Our game, and then obviously Georgia and Notre Dame. 2 other games that the folks out in the desert think are going to be pretty lopsided. In the first round, we saw 4 lopsided games. Do you think there is any chance that Boise State plays Penn State close, or that Arizona State plays Texas close?
I think there's a better chance that Boise State does tonight if they can get Genty going. I mean, we watched them play with Oregon. Yeah. And I like their secondary. If they can hold up against Penn State running game. Singleton and Allen averaged 6.3 yards per carry in the first round. If they can just get a little of that magic going on New Year's Eve, don't like this matchup. I could stick my foot in my mouth here in about 24 hours. I don't like this matchup for Arizona State at all. I think Texas's defense up front is active. I think they're going to swat away some passes. And they've run for more than 200 yards in 3 of their last 4 games. So it's not even about Quinn Ewers. We love talking about Quinn Ewers and Manning. I think it's about this Texas team can push you around a little bit.
Yeah, you and I see those the same. I think Penn State wins relatively comfortable. I think it's right on the cover line. I think Texas big. How about the other 2? Let's start with Notre Dame and Georgia. What's kind of your feel on that one? What an opportunity for Marcus Freeman. You get a playoff game at home. Jack Swarbrick drew these rules up, and it works perfectly in year 1. And then they get a Georgia team, backup quarterback. I don't know what to make out of Gunnar Stockton. Just signed for such a little bit of time. What's your read on that one?
Yeah, I picked Georgia to win, but it's a condition pick. You know, like, I'm just so used to seeing them winning these games. Notre Dame absolutely can win this game. But, you know, the big loss of Riley Mills, how do they react to that? This defense has been connected. Their defense, I've said this, they remind me of Michigan last year, very comparable to Ohio State this year. You know, just they play well together, veteran group, and they get after it. So I like Georgia to win but it feels like 21-17 game either way.
Yeah, and finally on our game, a little bit of a tease of it earlier, my friend, but you see points. I see it's 55.5. To me, I think it goes through that.
Yeah, you know, I picked Oregon to win the national championship when the bracket came out, but the winner of this game, I will say, will win the national title, in my opinion. I could be proven wrong, so very comparable to last team with the ball. Picked Oregon, but not like an overwhelming pick. I just feel like this last team to get the ball, I'm not getting kicked off your station on New Year's Eve. So I absolutely, but I will clarify that with I absolutely believe that Ohio State can win this game, and it could be who gets the ball last, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel. Which quarterback the other team get after, maybe get a pick or 2, that's the team that'll win.
I'm with you. I think you're going to get a replay of what you saw out in Eugene. I think it plays very similarly to that. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. Happy New Year's to you. And amazingly, we're going to play for another couple of weeks on this thing, all the way to January 20th. So a lot of football on the college side still left to be played. Happy New Year, buddy. Thanks for your time.
Hey, Happy New Year to everybody. 97.1. I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much.
All right. That's the great Bill Bender joining us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. He is your college football expert at The Sporting News. Coming up next, of course, Dan Campbell did that last night. Of course he did. We'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
I'm Rick Reichert, and Reichert Ford is cranking things up for the year-end spectacular. And we're dealing. It's our biggest sale of the year. Lease a new 2024 hybrid F-150 for just $499 a month for 36 months, zero down. Lease a new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months, also zero down. We're stacking them deep and selling them cheap. No other dealer in Columbus, in Ohio, or the entire United States is dealing like this, period. One of the largest Ford inventories in America, and it's all on sale. Get to the year-end spectacular. The grand finale of 2024 ends Thursday, January 2nd, only at Reichert Ford, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio, at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2023 Ford report for total new retail sales. Cincinnati region. Offers end January 2nd on approved credit. No security deposit required. Come in now, because we're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Make the most of your holidays with the Kroger app. You can enjoy over $600 in digital coupons every week. Get access to low prices and earn fuel points to save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. The Kroger app makes it easy to save this holiday season. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
And right now, check out this deal on bone-in whole pork shoulder. Just $1.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the dopes at The Fan.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
All your favorite Fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The best hair on the air. You were listening to Bishop and Friends.
How much were you guys into last night? Lions-Niners Monday Night Football.
Background.
Cole?
Yeah, background. That game had no bearing on anything.
Try telling Dan Campbell that. Also, fantasy championships last night were likely won. If you had Brock Purdy and you were playing for a fantasy championship, congratulations. Jahmyr Gibbs, how about that? With the touchdown he gets late, a long one, which all of a sudden is kind of a separator. Some incredible consequences in terms of the fantasy world. But to Cole's point, that game meant nothing. Detroit plays Minnesota this week. Win or lose last night, they will play for the 1 seed in the NFC. It's the biggest game of the weekend. I mean, there's other games that involve like trying to get in to be the last spot. We'll have a little bit of that in the AFC North with Cincinnati. But in terms of the top of the sport, the Lions beat Minnesota this week on Sunday Night Football, and they'll be the 1 seed. If they lose, they'll be the 5, and they'll have to go to likely Tampa Bay. Could still be the Rams, but more than likely it'll be Tampa Bay is where they end up there. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, and I think with a lot of casual viewers of last night's game, you saw 21-13. You knew the Lions were playing their starters, but going into halftime, I didn't think. I mean, I was pretty much out after the first half because I was like, all right, Detroit's going to start resting people. San Francisco's just going to play for whatever, and I missed it.
So I watched the entire first half, was mesmerized. It was a fun watch, really entertaining game. And then I heard Campbell coming out of half at the halftime interview, and he said, he went over, we got to do the little things, like classic Campbell, all these things they got to do. And I thought, oh, he's going to go. He's going. And then they did. And in a way, I think, and this is the thing that's really tricky about coaching in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you are cerebral in your approach and you put players in the best position to succeed, and that's where your credibility comes from. It doesn't matter if you are a rah-rah, chew off their kneecaps guy like Dan Campbell is or like Mike Tomlin is, if you have that vibe to you. But damn it, you got to be authentic. And I think it would not have been authentic for Dan Campbell to not play his guys last night. I think this is who the Detroit Lions are. I think when they play a game, it's on the schedule, they go. I don't know that there's a downshift from that. So I think in a way he almost had to go about it this way because otherwise he's undercutting his own ethos. And he did. And they won. And they're 14-2 and they host Minnesota this Sunday for the top seed in the NFC. So and he gets out of it, nobody gets hurt.
That's the biggest thing because conventional wisdom going into a matchup that doesn't mean anything says rest your guys because you just can't afford to lose anybody. But he's going for it 3 times on 4th down. He's doing a hook and ladder play for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. They're playing like this is a huge deal.
They let it all hang out. They put a lot of stuff on tape. It's funny, when the ESPN experts picked the game, most of them picked San Francisco because their thinking was, why would you play Sam Laporta? Why would you play Jahmyr Gibbs? Why would you play Amon-Ra St. Brown? Why would you play those guys? Or at least why would you play him a lot? He played them the whole time, and they won. And so it's just, they are who they are. They are absolutely authentic in their approach. Week 18 in the NFL is going to begin on Saturday. It will be an all AFC North affair. The Browns and Ravens at 4:30. You can hear that one on ESPN Columbus. Just so I'm clear, and maybe this is it? Did I see this right? This was 18.5.
That's what it opened as. I think it might have gone down to 18, but yeah.
Let me pull on it.
That is what the Ravens were favored when that matchup was set and the time was announced.
So right now in ESPN bet, it's 18. So you have that right. I would take Baltimore and the points.
Yeah, Ravens win. They're AFC North champions. Browns are going to. Are the Browns starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson to get the higher pick percent chance?
I think initially they were starting him to. I think they were starting him to see if he could be a capable backup next year for them.
That was the plan.
Yeah, or if they have to do a brand new quarterback room across the board. I should explain, and I'm sure you explained this a little bit yesterday, but they did drop that on Friday about Deshaun Watson and that contract, kind of extension. That's just spreading money around. That's all that is. He is not going to be a Cleveland Brown in 2030. I think you feel pretty safe about that. It's just a matter of giving them cap relief for the next couple of years. Deshaun Watson, one way or another, is going to be a member of the Cleveland Browns next year. Now, remember, he had Achilles surgery, so he won't even begin to be a part of anything until November. And this isn't scores. This is just common sense. They are not going to go into next season with no plan at quarterback other than, well, we'll wait on Deshaun. Like that. That's not real, and that's not the way it's going to go. That's just connecting dots on that side of things. So that's something to just kind of get cleared up. So I think a lot of people are like, oh my God, they're going to planning on having Watson start in 2025. No, he's not even going to be available until November, and that's if everything goes well.
And we had even said that they'll probably do something similar again. Like this isn't the last time they're going to mess with Watson's contract.
Yeah, I mean he's going to get every penny that's owed him. But because there is liquidity and ownership up there, they are able to spread that out and lessen the cap burden going forward. I think that there will be other ways to be able to do that. I was a little surprised that Cincinnati did not play the same time as Miami played and as Denver plays on Sunday, because Cincinnati still has, it's an outside shot, obviously, but if Denver and Miami were to lose, they would be able to get into the postseason. I think it's a slim chance for Miami to lose against the Jets. Same with Denver and Kansas City, because my hunch is Kansas City doesn't play anybody. Although, guys, did you think about this? Kansas City played Christmas Day. If they don't play any of their regulars, it'll be 3+ weeks between games for them. Now, knowing them and knowing it's a veteran team, my hunch is they'd be okay with that, and they would just kind of treat it like training camp and kind of go that way. But I haven't heard anything about Kansas City in terms of who they're planning on playing this week.
Yeah, I don't think there's been anything official from them, but boy, Patrick Mahomes sure looked like he was okay.
And if Chris Jones didn't play last week, why would he play this week?
Right. I think those type of guys all sit. I mean, if Mahomes plays and everybody plays on offense, like the offensive line plays, the skill guys play, all of that, like you have to protect him. There's a lot at stake for Baltimore, so that's why I think they will bury Cleveland and leave absolutely no doubt, because it's a big dang difference being the 3 seed versus the 5, and kind of the path that will be. Pittsburgh might not be is there any way? Well, yeah, if L.A. wins and Pittsburgh loses to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh could fall to the 6.
Yeah, I'd like to avoid Baltimore if I can. I'd rather go to Houston.
So Pittsburgh's going to try against Cincinnati. They need to try. You don't want to. Why would you want to play to Baltimore?
Even if they know what their AFC North fate is, because they'll learn that once Baltimore's done steamrolling Cleveland, you still play to win, so you don't have to do, as Cole says, face the Ravens.
It's not just that. The Steelers have lost 3 in a row. So they're in no position to punt on a game.
You're not resting anybody.
Even if they somehow went, or whatever the math would be, 13-0 to start the year and then 3 straight losses, even if they had the number 1 seed locked up, you got to try, because you got to get back on track.
And I think Houston is, you guys saw CJ on Christmas. I mean, that was. I mean, CJ Stroud missing people coming out of the backfield by 10 feet. He had a stretch in the second quarter where he could hit the broadside of a barn. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got bad habits that happened at the beginning of the year. I don't know what happened to him, but just accuracy was not there. Houston is 9-7, but I don't know, doesn't even feel that. So, you really want to be the 5 seed if you're Pittsburgh, and that's not great for Cincinnati to have to deal with that. So Cincinnati's going to have to earn it. Quite honestly, if Cincinnati had 10 wins right now, Burrow would win the MVP. He'd be right there with Allen and Lamar if they had 2 more wins. And they had a bunch of opportunities to get him, and they just couldn't. Couple of how close have you been paying attention to what the Cavs have been doing, Reese?
Pretty close. I wasn't able to meet last night's tip. It was a 10 o'clocker.
Yeah.
There's no chance for Eric tonight at 10:30 against the Lakers, but they've won 7 in a row. So it's sad to see that Golden State feels like a very unserious organization right now. Similarly with Philadelphia, there are some other teams that you expect in the postseason. But when I saw Cavs where I was like, oh, that would have been fun a couple of years ago. But you kind of expected things to go the way they did last night.
Yeah,
Moses Moody led for Golden State, and I'm like, I can't remember the last time I've seen him actually play.
I don't even know who that is. The Lakers did a deal where they traded D'Angelo Russell over the break for 2 people from New Jersey. I have no idea.
Yeah, Shake Milton, one of them.
What does that mean?
So,
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's so much more to the point that Charles Barkley made. I think it might have been last week, where you start the NBA on Christmas Day, because nobody feels invested in this right now.
I thought Bill Simmons made a really good point on his podcast, too, because the one NBA game over the holiday that got a lot of attention was Steph and LeBron. And it was a lot like the Olympics, right? Like, there's nostalgia to that. Steph hits a 3 and with 6 seconds to go from, honestly, the other side of the bay to tie the game, and then the Lakers win it with Austin Reeves at the buzzer, and LeBron saying, we own Christmas, all this stuff. And the reality is they didn't. It did $7.7 million, which is a nice number for the NBA, juxtaposed to $24 million for the 2 NFL games. So obviously the NFL wants to play on Christmas. They're going to, and they're going to continue to dominate. But what Simmons said was, because we keep giving the Lakers and the Warriors these prime spots because they deliver television, we are not growing the young talent in this game. It's pretty silly that Cleveland didn't play on Christmas, honestly.
Yeah,
it's a young team, predominantly made of American-born players, and they didn't get a showcase on Christmas Day.
They do need to do a much better job of when you have situations like a Christmas Day or when you have any time you're like Martin Luther King Day. When they play that slate of games, you need to focus more on the Minnesota Timberwolves, more on the Oklahoma City Thunder, more on the Cleveland Cavaliers because, LeBron's going to have he celebrated his 40th birthday yesterday. He's going to set a couple of milestones in terms of being a 40-year-old player in the NBA tonight when he factors in against the Cavaliers. But, yeah, you have the nostalgia game between LeBron and Steph, but how long can you hold on to that? Not much longer.
No, I heard him saying he's going to play till he could play 5 or 7 more years if he wanted to. Yeah, I suppose I would not tell him no. Physically, he probably could, but the effectiveness would start to go. It's pretty crazy at age 40. He averaged 23.5, 9 assists, and 7.9 rebounds. I don't care if you're playing against air.
You will on January 20th have the Cavs hosting the Phoenix Suns. The Warriors are hosting the Celtics, but we can kind of all tell you a month out how that's going to go.
Yeah, that won't go well. That will not go well. Second hour of the program coming up next. We started with The Real Truth. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
After years of practice, QC Kinetics medical director and founder of Grant Sports Medicine, Dr. Ray Tesner, is still amazed at the body's ability to heal and provide relief for itself.
To a certain extent, we've always understood or been amazed by the wonders of the human body and the capabilities that we have as human beings to heal ourselves, and being able to use those tools that God gave us and condense them and use them as opposed to synthetic materials.
QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments have helped deliver long-term relief to aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs around the country, but especially right here in Dublin and Gahanna.
The materials that our body has are the most effective and the safest to use, so being able to concentrate those and deliver those in a concentrated form to the direct area of problem only makes sense, and it's a nice tool to have.
Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Through the magic of modern technology, I'm coming to you from inside your garbage disposal.
Hey, what are you doing down here?
I was telling folks about Who are you?
Garbage disposal monster. I eat the things people put in here. Nom 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 nom.
Oh?
Sometimes I get sick.
I was just about to say, the pros who knows from Apex are brilliant at fixing garbage disposals. You're really a monster?
Ah, look here. These teeth?
Yeah?
They're all busted.
Oh.
They're for food, not forks. You hear up there?
Gee, what else?
Crazy noises like clingety, 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 clingety. Call Apex Pros.
Sure.
Sometimes I smell funny.
I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Call Apex Pros.
And what's going on now there?
Smoking. It's a bad habit. We're not supposed to smoke.
Well, you heard it straight from the garbage disposal monster.
Rawr.
Call the pros who knows. Apex Pros.
Hi, it's Alex, the Apex Bear. We are the pros who knows, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Nom 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 nom.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BIKE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BIKE to 321-321. That's BIKE to 321-321.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The college football playoff continues with the first of 4 quarterfinal matchups tonight in Arizona. Penn State plays Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. Kickoff from Glendale is 7:30 on New Year's Day. Texas takes on Arizona State at 1 o'clock in the Peach Bowl quarterfinal. Tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, Ohio State battles Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Buckeyes are 2.5-point favorites over the Ducks. Wednesday night at 8:30, Notre Dame and Georgia play in the Sugar Bowl. Coming up at noon today, Alabama takes on Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. In the NFL last night, the Lions beat the 49ers 40-34. Detroit's going to host Minnesota Sunday night at 8:20 for the NFC North. On the ice tonight at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets host the Hurricanes at 8 o'clock. You can hear that one on the Fan with pregame coverage at 7:30. Jackets are 3-1-1 in their last 5. They'll host the Red Wings on Thursday. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Need a little extra help after the holidays? Get a holiday loan from BMI. Learn more at bmifcu.org/holiday loan.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a New Year's Eve edition of the program. Bo, Reese, and Cole with you. Time for the real truth. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
The winner of the Rose Bowl will win the college football playoff national championship. Is that the real truth?
I'm not there yet. My theory on all of this, I know this upsets folks in the YouTube chat, is that Texas is going to bludgeon Arizona State. Bludgeon. And so I am a little weary of them in Dallas against whoever wins, Ohio State or Oregon. It feels that way to me. This far out, it feels like that to me, that the winner of this one will win it. There are two variables, though. The Texas one I just mentioned, and the other one is I just really want to see what Georgia looks like. I think on the bottom half of the bracket, I just can't take Penn State seriously in that type of game with James Franklin remaining the head coach, acknowledging they've gotten better and better each week. And I just don't know if Notre Dame can win any way other than as a front runner. I don't know if they could chase down either one of these teams. I don't know if they could score enough against either one of these teams. And I don't know what the Gunnar Stockton's going to look like at all, but it obviously is not the Georgia as Georgia intended to be. So I do think that I'd like to see Texas play first. My hunch is it's like 70% the real truth that the winner here wins the national title, but I can't go all the way.
Way to fight through that cough, by the way. That was impressive. I am there, I think. Mostly. I probably would say Texas is the next best shot. But the thing for me is it would be a huge wake-up call to go from Clemson and Arizona State to either Oregon and Ohio State. So I wonder what kind of preparation these two playoff games and, the easy ride that Texas has is going to be for them. Georgia, I've always been like a heavily biased Georgia guy. Even last year, I thought that they were the best team in college football. They just lost at an inconvenient time.
Yeah.
And so they're not as talented as they have been. But the thing for Texas for me that really kind of limits me into how much I believe in them, I thought Quinn Ewers was awesome heading into this year. And then with every week that went by, I really started to lose faith in him. And I don't know where we're at with him right now and if Texas is even going to want him to be the starting quarterback next year or if Arch Manning is the plan. Or I have no idea how that's going to go. So, midway through the year, I would have said Texas for sure would have given them a real run for their money, whoever it is, Ohio State or Oregon. But now I'm not so sure. So I think I like the percentage you gave, 70%. That sounds about right.
Tomorrow's Sugar Bowl quarterfinal game is set to kick off at 8:45 between Notre Dame and Georgia. That is the exact time the boot will meet the ball.
Yeah.
Is that the real truth?
That is the actual scheduled start time for this game. It is 0% real truth that that's when it'll actually kick because they're not going to start this until Ohio State, Oregon goes final. And so if you're telling me Ohio State, Oregon for sure is going to be over in 3 hours and 45 minutes as much as they're going to throw it, I don't see that being the case at all. I mean, you're going to kick this thing probably closer to 9 o'clock is my hunch. Plus, you got to do the preamble. You got to prep it, all that stuff. Hey, welcome to the Sugar Bowl, blah, blah, blah. This is a joke. I don't know what the hell ESPN was thinking on this. I don't know why they didn't play 2 games today. I don't know why didn't they play the Sugar Bowl on January 2nd? at 7:30. What are you thinking? There's nothing on Friday. Nothing. You could have had the whole night to yourself in prime time. Why would you do this? Why would you play a game in New Orleans at 9 Eastern that's going to end past midnight, well past midnight? I don't understand the thinking here. When you could have played 2 games today instead of just the one, you could have played one in the afternoon today. And if the Fiesta Bowl wanted the night slot so badly, fine. The Sugar Bowl's been played on January 2nd before. It's fine. The only one that's tied to January 1st is the Rose Bowl. All the rest of them can move. Just play it on the 2nd. I don't have any. I've looked into this too. I found no reasoning why ESPN decided to play this game at 8:45 allegedly tonight or tomorrow night.
There are 3 other time zones in America that are more likely to watch this game kick off at 8:45 than the Eastern time zone. No, this is not the real truth.
And the reality is how much of the population resides in the first one?
47%?
A great amount. Yeah, I don't know. I looked into it, fellas. I tried to find some reasoning why ESPN didn't play this game on Friday or why they didn't play it, why they didn't play 2 of them today. I couldn't find anything.
Nick Saban's got zero interest in running college football. Is that the real truth?
That's 100% the real truth. He got out of it because he didn't want to deal with it. Now you want him to try and fix it? And this notion, by the way, that a college football commissioner or boss or pope or czar, I prefer the TS to the CZ spelling of czar, if that is the case, you still are, they are completely, the emperor has no clothes. Because the courts are going to determine what happens in this sport, not some guy who's going to act like he's the boss. We've already had that. It didn't work.
Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that somebody who didn't even want to operate one team in college football now wants to operate all 134. So just off of that, I'm leaning no. And I still have this belief that when coaches or players or whoever get into the media and they can kind of have fun with it, and it's a lot more low stakes, they can kind of enjoy themselves a little bit more. They kind of see, oh, this lifestyle is also appealing as well. I don't have to stress myself out so much. I can kind of just have fun with it. Now, we've seen plenty of coaches get into media, and then when they get the next opportunity to get out of media and go back to coaching, they take it. So obviously their hearts are in a certain place, but I think that this lifestyle is enough.
Do you think it's possible that Shane Gillis calling him Alabama Jones would drive him to this job and off of ESPN? That's one of the funniest damn things I saw over the.
He said his daughter thought it was hilarious.
It was.
At least one person.
It was hilarious.
It was quite hilarious calling him Alabama Jones over here. While saying, oh, yeah, the SEC never cheats. And then he goes into integrity for a minute and a half, like dead serious. Everybody else on the ESPN set is terrified of Saban. Gillis went right at him. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I loved it, too, when they were doing the McAfee field goal special or whatever they do on game day. And Gillis is like, yeah, with this new NIL era, we can all pay players and not just Saban and the rest of the SEC.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Reese Davis and College Game Day have to ask Nick Saban about the college football commissionership tomorrow live from the Rose Bowl. Is that the real truth?
I don't think they have to, but I think that they will do it tongue-in-cheek. Like, no one thinks this is serious, do they? I mean, I heard Kiffin doing it. Like, nobody really thinks he would do this.
No.
Why would he do this? And then try to fix? Can you imagine? You got to be... The only people that have incentive to fix this are Sankey and Petiti and the conferences they represent and their television partners. And they're the only ones who have the power to do it too. So I don't think one guy, there's no way that like Petiti and all the Big Ten schools will be like, oh yeah, we want Nick Saban being in charge of the sport.
And if they do ask him, it's going to be choreographed. It's not going to be the first time they ask him. So in that case, I don't even care because the entire song and dance is going to be staged.
Last one. If there is a college football commissioner, he or she should be elected and announced like the Pope. Is that the real truth?
Is that the best announcing of an elected official in the history of announcing of elected official? The plume of smoke out of that little pipe that just is sitting there in the Vatican in that little plume.
Got cameras from everywhere just fixated on that
just
plume.
Staring
Yep.
on the plume. Yeah. I wonder what they use to create that plume at the Vatican that creates that smoke. I wonder what does that. I think in college football it would be cigar smoke, right? Isn't that what it would be? Like
that
a giant stogie?
Throw up whatever colors that person represents, like what school. Like if it were to be, I'll just throw out,
like a gender reveal?
Like the Tuscaloosa, you do like crimson smoke.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And also just for you, because I see what's next on the sheet that we won't get to. No, the Jets should not trade Garrett Wilson, and they should also not stick with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that was the one I didn't know if we'd have time for, but
You got Garrett Wilson for 2 more years.
They should trade Garrett Wilson and stick with Aaron Rodgers. That was his ultimatum, per Ian Rappaport.
That was Garrett Wilson's?
There was...
How far those two have fallen.
From
You remember
his reporting.
When he shredded his ace Achilles and then he apologized to Garrett Wilson and now they hate each other?
Life comes at you faster than anything in the NFL.
Especially when you're tied to him. The Vatican uses smoke signals to communicate the results of papal elections, and the smoke is created by using a combination of chemical additives and burning ballot papers. So they have black smoke, then they have white smoke, and then they have the ballot papers. That's how they do it. Oh, baby. Ever since I read the Dan Brown books, I can't look at any of that the same.
So it's not like Euro Trip where they just light the Pope's hat on fire?
Did are you guys old enough to remember the phenomenon that was the Da Vinci Code and all that?
I had to read it in high school.
They made you read the Da Vinci Code in high school?
Angels and Demons, excuse me.
Angels and Demons in high school?
Yeah.
Those took the world by storm, those 2 books. But the Da Vinci Code was great, so I can't look at any of that stuff the same. All right, Will Howard on his legacy and what is at stake tomorrow for him as he continues to build. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Through the magic of modern technology, I'm coming to you from inside your garbage disposal.
Hey, what are you doing down here?
I was telling folks about Who are you?
Garbage disposal monster. I eat the things people put in here. Nom 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 nom.
Oh?
Sometimes I get sick.
I was just about to say, the pros who knows from Apex are brilliant at fixing garbage disposals. You're really a monster?
Look here. These teeth, they're all busted.
Oh.
They're for food, not forks. You hear up there?
Gee, what else?
Crazy noises like clingety, 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 clingety. Call Apex Pros.
Sure.
Sometimes I smell funny.
I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Call Apex Pros.
And what's going on now there?
Smoking. It's a bad habit. We're not supposed to smoke.
Well, you heard it straight from the garbage disposal monster. Call the pros who knows. Apex Pros.
Hi, it's Alex, the Apex Bear. We are the pros who knows, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Nom 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 nom.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. In procrastination, it's the thief of time. Do you really want to head into the new year with the same old joint pain, the stuff that's been bothering you all the way through this last year and probably many prior years? Make the decision now to say no. I'm going to get it fixed, and I'm going to get moving again in 2025 with the help from my friends at QC Kinetics. See, they're the leaders in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. They're located right here in Columbus, Ohio, under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, the founder of Grant Sports Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. He's going to help you revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics, things like PRP, so you don't have to have surgery. There's no drugs. There's no downtime. It's the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of people already know about it, so don't wait any longer. Go give them a call at 380-208-4544 for your free consultation. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so they're conveniently located all through Central Ohio.
It's back January 10th through 19th at the Ohio Expo Center. The Ohio RV and Boat Show, brought to you in part by Park National Bank. 3 enormous buildings with dealers that have brought the best selection of RVs, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, golf cars, and more. Wide open aisles, tons to see, fun for all. The Ohio RV and Boat Show at the Ohio Expo Center, January 10th through 19th. From towables to drivers, jet skis to pontoons, and more. It's all here. Join the fun. One-stop competitive shopping. Get tickets online at OhioRVandBoatShow.com.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Morning Juice.
You want some bread with that butter? Like, I love, especially some good butter. Like, you get the Scottish, the orange, the yellow packet stuff.
Morning Juice. Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. On again, off again showers through the evening hours. As some colder air arrives, you might actually see a transition to a few snow showers after midnight. Today's high will be around 50. Tonight's low, 34. Mostly cloudy with a few snow flurries tomorrow. High, 38. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robershad with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. The solution for weight loss is Awaken 180 Weight Loss. All right, I'll do this here. So on Saturday, so just to catch everybody up, NBC broke his wrist the Sunday before Christmas. So I think I talked about that on the Monday show, there was a chance that he broke it. Well, yeah, he broke it. So he's been in a cast now for 5 or 6 days. He's going to miss 5 or 6 basketball games, devastation, tears, all of it. So the worst has possibly happened. Well, part of the other thing that happened was his birthday was on the 19th. And so Beamsy got very sick, violently sick on the 19th. And so we didn't have like a restaurant birthday party for NBC turning 13. So he said, what do you want to do? And he said, I'd like to do hibachi. Okay, so we do hibachi. So Saturday, we get it locked in, and we're going to go do some hibachi. I like hibachi. I think it's fine. I'm more heavy ginger than yum yum when it comes to the hibachi, but I can do it. There's a lot of options there. It works out fine. I got a good strategy. The boys always do this very rookie mistake where they crush the rice as soon as they get it, and then they never have any room for the protein by the time it comes around. Like, you got to have a strategy.
They'll learn.
At some point. He's got a little patience. He's got a little bit of patience, and then it all comes together quite nicely. And so, no names, please, on the restaurant. But I've never had what I'm about to tell you happen before to me at hibachi or anywhere. So, chef comes out, does what he does a fine job. And at the end of the meal, he says, I just want to make you aware that the way we tip here, the server gets all of the money and the chefs don't get any. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I think that's the way it works everywhere, is that way. So then he goes, so if you'd like to tip me, you have to do so directly. Okay. Fair. So then I'm thinking to myself, and I've had a great many meals at restaurants in my life. I've never felt the need to tip the chef. I just assume that that's part of, now your significant other is in this world, was in this world.
Was in this world, right.
Was in this world. So I've never had a scenario where I felt inclined. I just assumed that their compensation is significantly more than the wait staff, and so that's why you tip the wait staff, and the chef does just fine, or the cook does just fine. Now, I don't know at Hibachi if they take care of the cooks or not. I assume that they do. I've eaten a lot of hibachi. I've never had one say that to me. So I'm trying to compartmentalize this. And he did a fine job, but it wasn't like it was something like, my God, this is a French Laundry. It's the greatest restaurant I've ever had in my life. I mean, I got to go back and meet the chef. It was fine. It was fried rice. Like, what do you want?
Did he catch all the shrimp?
He didn't even throw them.
Oh, my
Well,
gosh.
in that case.
Didn't throw the shrimp. Like, no sake rainbows, waterfalls, none of that. It was just a fine, straightforward performance, which, quite honestly, I'm fine with. The only thing I don't love about hibachi is all the craziness. That's the only thing I don't love, but it's part of it. My kids like it, so that's why we did it. But all the rest of it's fine. So it comes to the end of the meal, and we get the check. And by the way, the waitress who took care of us was extraordinary. Quite literally, quite extraordinary. Like, just was on it. As soon as something was done, it was pulled. And you need that because there's a lot of different apparatuses. You got soup, you got salad, you got all sorts of things you're running through, more yum-yum, more ginger sauce, blah, blah, blah. So she was great. So it comes time to get the bill, and I didn't give much more thought to it other than to say to my wife, well, that's awkward that he's asking for it. So come time to get the bill. I tip. My standard on that is I'm anywhere between 20 and 22% on service, depending on where it is. It used to be it was a standard 15. Now I think everything's 20, and then you build from there. So I tipped her 22%. She was great. It's hibachi, so it's a big bill. Fine. So everybody wins. So as we're getting ready to leave, the cook spots me leaving from across the restaurant and starts walking towards us as we're leaving.
Did he have anything in his hands?
There were no weapons
All right.
that I could see. Now, they're probably knives and stuff hanging off his belt, but it was very clearly done I could see it coming. I'm like, let's go. Like, I don't need awkward. Like, is he trying to, like, strong arm me into tipping him? Like, what is happening here? I've never had this. So as he approaches, he's like, I hope you had a great meal. I hope it was really great. And he's almost like within 2-3 feet of me. Like trying to strong arm me into tipping him. It was almost like at a curb. And so
it's just about to say, like, that's something Larry David would write, and then he would find some way to not have cash on him.
This all happened. And I don't carry cash. Quite honestly, if there was a line on the bill that said tip server, tip cook, I would have done that. Fine. Here's a 20, whatever. But there wasn't, and I very rarely carry cash. So we go to leave, and he kind of is starting to follow a little bit. Now, he did stop, and so we got in the car, but I was like, all right, get in the car. Like, I don't know what's going on. This guy deranged. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
No.
Not at all.
Not in my life.
So I assume there was another family at your table.
No, there wasn't, because we went early. So we went Saturday early around 5. So we got in kind of early because of just the way that our day had worked out. So we ate a little early. So it was just the 5 of us.
So as I was going to say, did he go up to them and do the same to them? Isn't it just, equal opportunity? But I don't know. You kind of sound singled out there.
I've never seen anything like it. Made me a little uncomfortable, quite honestly. I've never been trying to be shaken down.
That's what that was. Like, not only did you get a dinner and a performance, but then you got a shakedown afterwards.
That's right. That's what it felt like.
Sounds like he's in debt.
Just was the strangest damn thing
You know
I've
what
ever
you
seen.
should have done? You should have given him the tip to take our NFL picks.
That you could have done that.
You just
Then
showed
you would have
him
been fine.
at 971 BFS. Follow our NFL picks. You'll never need to work another day in your life.
You don't need to shake down anybody.
Lions 49ers over.
Take them all. You would have been fine. Yeah, that happened. It's been a hell of a break, kids. It's been a hell of a break for your Uncle Bo. A lot of new experiences.
Doesn't sound like a break, but,
No, far from it. So today we got Bootsy's birthday. He wants to go bowling. I'm like, who do I tip there?
Shoe cleaner,
the guy giving me the ball. Like, what do I got to do? How many people am I tipping here?
At least I have a couple dollars on you.
Never seen anything like it. Craziest damn thing. I just wish where the tipping was concerned, just tell me what the rules are. Whatever they are, just let me know, and it's fine. There's this thing that they did at the club last year where they would put like an 18% service charge on the bill, and then it would say additional tip. And I go to the general manager, I said, I don't want to do math. So either, because if you wanted, I wanted to be, let's just make it 20% and just put it on the bill, and then that's fine. Or put no service charge, and I will tip to 20, understanding that that's part of the deal. But don't make me do math at dinner. I don't want to do any more than I have to.
Tipping has become, or it feels like to me, it's become somewhat predatory after the pandemic, where those who had, gone and gotten takeout and wanted to tip and be generous to service industry workers who absolutely deserve that. After the pandemic and when people started coming back to work, there were some subsets of the restaurant and service industry that still kept that as a way to just get more, squeeze that sponge more. And it feels like you don't call it gratuity anymore.
No.
You can't.
No. Oh, yeah, you get that. You go pick up and there's a line for tip. Well, who's getting this? Yeah, that's real. No, I just need rules. Give me rules and I'm fine. I'll tell you what. Uncle Dommy and I had a hell of a time after the Rose Bowl the last time he and I were there together. I'm sure we'll regale you with those stories and much, much more in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
At NJAM, what are your plans this winter? Snowy walk in the park? Curl up by the fire with a nice book? Get stuck in the hospital with COVID-19? If that last one isn't in your plans, and surely it's not, then consider getting an updated vaccine. Because if you're 65 or older, you're 14 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19 than someone under 50. So get your updated vaccine and make the most of this winter. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At NJAM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Tri-State Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Sponsored by Sears Heating and Cooling. Family owned since 1950.
Oh, baby. On the Brian Heating Cooling System Fan Guest Hotline, little Tuesdays with Tiberi. Here's the thing about covering the Rose. By the way, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, buddy.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and it is a new year because it's craziness with this college football playoff. I just want to get that off. It's craziness.
I agree. I'm pretty backwards on it. It doesn't feel natural at all to me. And it's a strange calendar. I feel bad for the players and the coaches and the support staff and the media that has to cover all of it. It's crazy. doing all this stuff, and then having to go to Dallas next week, and it's just nuts. How
about the fans?
They don't care about the fans, Tom.
Well,
you know that by now.
They care about the TV, don't they?
They got TV money. That's all that is. Just TV money. They don't care. You can get into the game. I saw Stuart Mandela, The Athletic, with this morning. The only ticket of the quarterfinal games, which are being, acted like they're bowl games, but quite honestly are just quarterfinal games. They'll look like bowl games, and that's about it. Here are your get-in prices on StubHub. So the Rose Bowl is the most expensive, $170. The Fiesta Bowl tonight you can get in for $40. The Sugar Bowl, Georgia Notre Dame in New Orleans, you get in for $33, and the Texas Arizona State Peach Bowl game you can get in for $16.
Gee, man,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Can't do it to the fan. They don't care. They don't care. You know the beautiful thing about the Rose Bowl?
Well, there's everything out there.
Well, it's when it's done. It's done. You're on Pacific time.
Yes.
So you're like all done with your stuff. And it's like 9:00 at night out there.
Yes, and we would go.
And then we did. And it is, I've told people what we did after the Rose Bowl. That was after they beat Oregon. Terrell Pryor probably had his best game as a Buckeye. Mm-hmm. And we basically did a Dom and Bo, the great Miss T, Dirk Klug. We did a self-guided star tour of Beverly Hills and Hollywood, did we not?
Yes, we did. We were at homes. I'm sure there was security. Yeah, there's about 8 guys standing in front of Wayne Newton's house. Excuse me, they're going down where Frank Sinatra used to live, and there's some Italian guy that's like on his knees.
Yeah,
we were in Beverly Hills. We were everywhere. We went everywhere. There was almost an incident where people were driving crazy, and you're yelling at. Yeah, well, Easy. Anyways, it was beautiful. It was fabulous. It was. Yeah. It was great, and what's-the-name had to go to the bathroom. We couldn't find a bathroom in Beverly. No. There are no bathrooms in Beverly Hills. No. None. Zero.
Not at 9:00.
No, you go. There are all these diamond stores and everything. Hey, could I use your bathroom? And they're looking at you. You can leave now. That's what you can do. You're not. We don't have a bathroom for you.
We went to one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to go to the Dresden Room because of the movie Swingers is prominently featured, and there's a couple of piano players that are in that movie, and so we wanted to see that, and so we did that.
Yes.
And I think you had Scotch on the Rocks, and I probably had something similar. Miss T had something very similar, and our good friend Klug ordered what?
Bloody Marys, and after a couple Bloody
salad bar.
Yeah, the man, my wife, I'll never forget. She loves Klug, and Klug loves my wife. But she said that remember there was the incident with the marching band with our buddy. Anyways, and it was after that he was a little froggy, feeling good, and he's standing in the Dresden. We're all like in a line, just looking at this place from the movie, and he goes, I don't think there's anyone in here that I couldn't take. That was a quote, and so we get back to our room, and Miss T goes, "Is that guy right?" No. He told me he could wipe everyone in, but that's the man.
I'm pretty sure that was the one. You're right. That was the marching band incident with him, and then also he almost got stepped on by a horse.
Yes, he did.
So that was it was in play as
one of my favorite things was just going to Hollywood Boulevard and just looking, because if you like to people watch like I do, it is a lot of people. Is that a good way to put it?
I think that's fair.
And they're all dressed up in costumes. I saw Batman, Superman. I saw the Hulk. And if you want to take a picture of them, they want paid.
In those days, what our wonderful producer at the time, Rob Kuntz, would say is, why don't you guys just take a camera and go find something?
Yeah.
And so we would. We'd go, if it was in the Sugar Bowl, then we'd go to Bourbon Street. If it was in Miami, we'd go to Miami Beach, to South Beach. And so that's what we did. We would just go
have fun,
find something and have fun and turn it into something. I don't know if you'll ever have those again.
Well,
those type of things, because you guys aren't out there for a week now.
You're not going to be there long enough. I mean, I love New Orleans, you and I, although I think that lady might have put a curse on me. The voodoo lady, remember her?
Yeah.
And we were like, you were not what's the word I'm looking for? You weren't as salty as I was to it.
No, I think that's fair.
And I think you understood.
A little more skeptical.
Yeah, well, you didn't want to make her angry, and I think she did put a curse on me.
I think you could be right.
Please take it off. I've had enough. No mas.
My favorite was always the Sugar Bowl because it's so navigable. The rest of these bowls, you got to be in cars a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so the Sugar Bowl, you can pretty much walk anywhere you need to go.
Right.
So that was always my favorite because all the rest of them, it's a bit of a hike. Miami's tough. It's in Lauderdale. All the media's out in Lauderdale. So although that was nice when we're on the beach, but like those are all the rest of them you have to get in a car all the time. In New Orleans, you can walk a lot of places.
Yeah, L.A., everything's an hour. But I will say this. There is something about being in Hollywood. There's something about being in Beverly Hills and just riding around and seeing the way that all these celebrities live with their big gates and you can get a map and all right there that's where what's the name lives, and we're getting out taking pictures and it was pretty, but they were all like these mini compounds, weren't they, with gates and whatever, and they probably had guards. And
I just remember like the hedges and stuff being like 30 feet tall.
Oh yeah,
you couldn't see through any of it.
My big hit is when we went by Dean. Remember we went to Dean Martin's house, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, where they lived, and Bob Hope and all that. That was pretty cool.
It was. They don't have that anymore. Because like the team flies out, you're there for like 3 days, you have a bunch of media availability, then you play a game, and then when you're done with it, guess what? If you win, you're going to go play Dallas next Friday against Texas.
Let me say this, and I've been skeptical of all this, but it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. The genie's out of the bottle. This is professional football. Mm-hmm. I think the way the whole thing was done was kind of whacked, where, you're telling me that in the second round of the playoffs, the quarterfinals, you've got Ohio State and Oregon playing. That makes absolutely no sense. It's going to be great, but I'm on record thinking these are the two best teams in this playoff, and now they're what reward did Oregon get for the great record? How can you give buys to Boise State and some of the? I just don't get it. And I understand they want to protect first of all, these conference championships need to go away. I mean, what is the goodness of them? I mean, Georgia got their quarterback hurt. What is the benefit of playing in that game, risking getting someone hurt? It might have been a blessing that Ohio State didn't play in the Big Ten. That would have been one more game, and it's like you could have played these guys 3 times. It's just the whole thing needs really revamped. If you're going to have a ranking, the top 4 teams get a bye. That's just the way it is.
Period. Yes, of course. And Boise State and Arizona State right now, if Oregon's the 1 seed and is it Georgia that's the 2, then Oregon should be playing Boise State tonight or tomorrow, and Georgia ought to be playing Arizona State. It makes no sense.
If the regular season,
and they both play the 2 toughest teams you can play. If Oregon's the 1 and they're playing the Buckeyes, Georgia's the 2 and they play Notre Dame.
Right. If the regular season matters, then you should be rewarded for playing a 13-0 season or whatever you did. I mean, we're getting ready. Ohio State's getting ready to play their 14th game.
Yeah.
And I heard you guys earlier talking about the depth and whatever. Mm-hmm. This is college football. They don't have the depth. No. I mean, they think they do, but they don't have the depth. How good was Ohio State's offensive line when you took out Seth and the other guy? I mean, they went to the portal to get these guys and they get hurt. They don't have the depth. This isn't the NFL, and I understand, but playing 16 games, this is crazy in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is too, and it's hard to wrap your head around the idea that if they win tomorrow, then they got to do the thing in Dallas, and if they do that, then they got to play again.
Yeah,
all the way to January 20th. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think the games are going to be great. You got a good feel. You think the Buckeyes get it right tomorrow?
I think they do, but Bo, they're 1 injury away. I mean, here's the deal. I used to say you can only get up for so many games as a college football team.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Michigan game times 4 now. I mean, everyone is you can't take it off. You got attrition's going to come in, injury's going to come in, fatigue's going to come in, And, this is crazy. This is a year-round deal. It always was a year-round. Well, it didn't used to be a year-round deal. Remember, these kids used to get jobs during the summer.
Sure.
When Coop was here, they'd get the kids, Woody and Earl, they'd get the kids jobs, and they'd be able to have a life away from football. Now it's 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's starting even earlier. You're seeing kids in high school giving up their senior years to come to college early to get in the program and everything, and that's where we're at. And it's not going back. And the thing is, Ohio State, if they win the national title, it's going to be amazing, because the route that they will have to travel to win this national title is absolutely amazing. I used to say that Ohio State, when Cardell Jones and Urban won the national title, that was the 3 greatest games in Ohio State history. When you watched what they did in the Big Ten title game to Wisconsin, and then the way they beat Alabama, and then the way they just, manhandled Oregon.
Yeah.
If they can do this, where they will win 4 games against these teams, it'll be unheard of. It'll be the 4 greatest wins in Ohio State history. And I just think we need to understand that these are kids, and even though they're getting paid, they are kids still. They're not grown men yet.
Well, they're not getting paid from the college football playoff, though. They're getting paid by third parties.
Well,
they're not sharing any revenue.
That's supposed to change next year, right?
I guess we'll see.
We'll see how it all shakes out. But you know what? The new year's here.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And as I've said a million times, the genie is out.
Yeah.
And the genie bottle's been destroyed. He can't even go home if he wanted.
Every time you say genie, I think of Barbara Eden, so thank you for that. I'm old enough to have that, and you and I are the few who have that reference.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah, Happy New Year. You're the best. Happy New Year to Reese and Cole. And Cole's razor broke, and so did Reese's.
That's fine. Everyone's bearded now. You're safe.
I'm not.
Well, you should be. You look great.
I try to look clean cut.
Nah, I like it when you get a
Although I got one of these guys, they want me to retire this guy on Twitter.
No, well, don't listen to idiots on social media. That's your problem.
I just said, you want me? I went right at him. I said, you want me to retire? Now he wants me to do traffic. I don't know what the guy's got. He's got 8 followers, and he's like attacking me.
And look what you did. You just validated him.
Well,
we'll talk soon.
Goodbye.
Thing or not a thing. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Struggling with high cloud hosting costs and endless management headaches with your Microsoft Azure or AWS environment? Contact AmericanEagle.com for an assessment and see how they can save you time and money.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. The auto, home, and business insurance you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Getting cold feet? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward here, and last time this year I was down 43 pounds after just 2 months with Awaken 180. I broke into the new year at my goal of 50 pounds down. It felt great, and it still does. Get the same results at awaken180weightloss.com.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Here, care is where you need it. With over 350 primary care providers in Central Ohio, expert care is minutes away. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, we're still a ways out from Black Monday in the NFL, but there are some vacancies. ESPN in Baton Rouge parroted a report from Tom Pelissero that the New Orleans Saints have a surprise name in their coaching search, one John Gruden. Also yesterday, Rex Ryan said he expected to get a call from the New York Jets about their coaching search, and Ron Rivera, per NFL Network, is a name for gangrene as well. Thing or not a thing?
All right, which of those three would be the most shock? I don't think Rivera would be shocking at all. I mean, I think that would be very much NFL, the way they do things. Would Rex Ryan returning to New York be more or less shocking than Gruden returning to the Saints?
I'd say it's Ryan returning to New York.
More shocking?
Yes.
I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, because Gruden isn't that far removed from a 10-year, $100 million deal with the Raiders. And those emails, which who knows how those even got leaked. I mean, I think we know now how they got leaked from Dan Snyder to put you off the trail. And he was kind of he just basically caught strays in that. In that whole email thing, which is why he got fired from the Raiders. But he's not that far removed from that. Like that, him in New Orleans, I just wouldn't let him anywhere near your draft board. because look what he did with the Raiders drafts. I mean, that was a disaster. But if you keep him away from your draft board, I think, to me, that's not that far-fetched. I think Rex Ryan, it's been a long time since he's coached. Like head coach, long time. Probably the Jets last time, right? Has he had another job since?
No, it was the Bills?
Yeah.
He was the coach of the Bills?
Yeah, right afterwards.
You got to be kidding me. I have do you have any reference?
No recollection of him being the head coach of the Bills.
Well, apparently it wasn't very memorable, so it must not have been very successful.
He's 62. Oh, my God. You go on Wikipedia, and the first thing you see is a picture of him in a Bills outfit. He coached the Bills from 15 to 16.
Okay.
Boy, they went 8-8 and 7-8. I mean, he's responsible. It's funny, like people look back so fondly on his time with the Jets. He went 11-5 once. Other than that, it was 9-7, 8-8, 6-10, 8-8, 4-12. He had one 11-5 season. Never won the division. Second in the AFC East is the best they did. They got to the AFC Championship game twice. 9-7 they lost to the Colts, and then 9-7 they lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think he's just a name that people know. And it's this weird thing that fans do. And, God, the worst was the St. Louis fans. Because, honest to goodness, God love them, but they don't know anything that's going on outside of St. Louis. It's just, whenever there's a new coach to hire or something like that, everybody wants to hire their former players. Everybody wants to hire their former coaches, apparently. It's like, God, use your imagination. Like, there are a lot of football teams out there, college and pro. There are a lot of resumes to go over. It's so lazy and weird. Just certain fan bases that only recycle the names that they're familiar with. Like, come on. And then Rex Ryan's just campaigning for himself, and he has been for years, and it hasn't worked so far.
Brett McMurphy of the Action Network reported Monday, quote, there will be in-depth discussions about not guaranteeing conference champions the top 4 college football playoff seeds in 2025. Top 5 conference champs still would get in the playoff, but rankings would determine the seeding. This would require unanimous approval by all stakeholders to change in 25, but conference commissioners are open to getting the seeding right, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
All right, it's a thing. It's obviously going to happen. I'm going to translate that. I'll redo it, except I'm just going to translate what it means. There will be in-depth discussions about not guaranteeing conference champs to the top 4 seeds in 2025. In other words, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to change the way this thing is done. Top 5 conference champs would still get into the playoff, but rankings would determine the seeds. This would require unanimous approval, this is me parenthetically, by Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti and ESPN to get the playoff rankings right. All stakeholders to change in 2025, but conference commissioners. Are you out of your mind to think that anyone believes any of this? ESPN looked up and said, why again is Boise and Arizona State still playing? Why is Oregon's path? What are we doing? Why have the poll to begin with if it's not going to matter? To give buys randomly and act like every conference is created equal is a clown show to begin with. So yes, ESPN had enough of it. The 2 conference commissioners had enough of it. They'll seed them 1 through 12 next year, and 1 through 4 will get buys no matter what their conference is.
Bo, who are all stakeholders?
I think that's hilarious. There are no... Who are all stakeholders? All stakeholders are the television partner and the SEC and the Big Ten and anybody else they're allowed to eat scraps off their table.
But you got to include the Mid-American Conference Commissioner in those conversations.
That's right. This is a big thing, though, because I think we all kind of saw this coming in 2026 because the current model, the 12-team model, was only a 2-year plan. And then I think everybody kind of figured out that 16 is probably where we're going. And so if we get there in 2026, then it probably wouldn't make sense to have buys in the first round. So then if no one's getting buys, you don't even need to prioritize any conference championship. So the fact that they are amending this model that has only been in place for 1 year, I think that's pretty evident that it did not go the way that they thought it was going to go.
Real quick, I love a good parade. The 136 Rose Parade will begin tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. That's 8 o'clock Pacific time. The parade will roll down 5.5 miles of Pasadena streets before an anticipated crowd, and this is from the Rose Parade, of hundreds of thousands.
There you go.
The parade theme this year is Best Day Ever. Features 32 floats, 20 marching bands, and 16 equestrian groups. Tennis icon Billie Jean King will serve as the Grand Marshal. Thing or not a thing?
At the Rose Bowl, it's always 1981. It's always 1981. Equestrian groups, Billie Jean King. Pay no attention. This is the Big Ten against the. These are not the drones you're looking for. That's the Rose Bowl. This is the Big Ten against the Pac-10. It's 1981 every day at the Rose Bowl. You would love it. I mean, as much as you love a parade, I mean this is the ultimate parade.
Yeah, you'd have to get me there a week earlier just so I wouldn't have to deal with traffic leading up to.
Right.
5.5 miles.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Right. What is it this or is it the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Like which is the king of the parades? Is it Macy's or this one?
I think it's the Thanksgiving Day Parade. If you were to ask more people,
yeah.
Like generally, I feel outside of sport, nobody knows the Rose Parade because they don't connect it to anything.
Yeah, as a kid, it was something that was on. It was the first thing that was on New Year's morning. Like you're still groggy from New Year's Eve, you turn on the TV and it's on and you watch it waiting for football. That's usually the way that it kind of works. But I think Macy's is probably, if you're doing a Mount Rushmore, then the Macy's is 1. This is 2. Upper Arlington would be 3rd.
Wow. See, I think we have to have that conversation in July because that's a great summer sports topic. But also you're wrong as hell if you don't put UA number 1. It's celebrating freedom and democracy.
That's right. In America's finest.
Rose Parade's just because, I don't know, a football game. Comparatively to America.
Every float, if memory serves, every float has to be made of flowers at the Rose Parade, which is a hell of an accomplishment when you think about it. We'll blitz the NFL coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. In procrastination, it's the thief of time. Do you really want to head into the new year with the same old joint pain, the stuff that's been bothering you all the way through this last year and probably many prior years? Make the decision now to say no. I'm going to get it fixed, and I'm going to get moving again in 2025 with the help from my friends at QC Kinetics. See, they're the leaders in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. They're located right here in Columbus, Ohio, under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, the founder of Grant Sports Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. He's going to help you revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. Things like PRP, so you don't have to have surgery. There's no drugs. There's no downtime. It's the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of people already know about it, so don't wait any longer. Go give them a call at 380-208-4544 for your free consultation. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so they're conveniently located all through Central Ohio.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Happy New Year's Eve. I'm Eric Reeser. Bucks and Ducks from the granddaddy of them all. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., Ohio State plays Oregon in the Rose Bowl quarterfinal. Buckeyes are 2.5-point favorites in this one. We'll have Rose Bowl pregame coverage starting tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Winner there gets either Texas or Arizona State. Those two will play in the Peach Bowl quarterfinal tomorrow in Atlanta at 1 o'clock. There's one quarterfinal game tonight. Penn State plays Boise State at 7:30 in the Fiesta Bowl. Nittany Lions are 11-point favorites there. Winner gets Notre Dame or Georgia. The Irish play the Bulldogs tomorrow night at 8:45 in the Sugar Bowl quarterfinal. About an hour from now in Tampa, Alabama takes on Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets host the Hurricanes tonight at 8 o'clock. CBJ are 3-1-1 in their last 5. You can hear that game on the Fan with pregame coverage at 7:30. Elvis Merzlikins gets the nod in net. This update sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. The best Broncos sports selection is at the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade. The broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a New Year's Eve Tuesday edition. Time to blitz the NFL. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present NFL Blitz.
Sponsored by Skyline. Skyline's new mac and cheese 3-way is only here for a limited time. Try it today.
All right, Cole, I believe I had that. What did you have, sir?
I believe I had that Brock Bowers is the best tight end prospect I have ever seen. He is now third in receptions in the league. Third in receptions, seventh in receiving yards. And this past weekend, he beat Mike Dick's rookie record for tight ends receiving yards as a rookie. That's a mouthful. But Brock Bowers, best I've seen in my life coming out of college.
I'll tell you what's really crazy about him, too, is look at the quarterbacks throwing to him. I mean, just imagine if he had competent quarterback play, what that would look like. Reese, what did you have?
I had that DTR is not a viable backup for the Browns next season. Saw enough last year. Kevin Stefanski and company told you what they thought of him when they put Jameis Winston in, thinking he would give them the best chance to win. That's still true that Jameis Winston gives the Browns the best chance to win. Winning is, I believe, not what they should be trying to do on Sunday. DTR, not who I believe should be in that quarterback room next season. Feels like they've got a clean house a little bit.
They're in the really awkward place of the players in the room still trying, obviously, to win, while everybody with half a brain is going, it's quite honestly much better off if you lose. I mean, they may stumble themselves into being able to pick one of the two quarterbacks that most people say have separated in this draft. They may stumble into that. And that could end up being kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card. I believe I had that the Chargers would be really good this year in year one with Jim Harbaugh. They have no weapons to speak of for Justin Herbert. McConkey's is a rookie, and he's been great. But just imagine what they will be like when they start to get weapons for him. Dominant, they're into the postseason, and have been really one of the really cool stories this year of what happens when you get competent coaching on a team and a quarterback that had a lot of talent already. Just imagine if they had done this a couple of years earlier with Harbaugh before, when they actually had receiving talent for him to throw to. Just imagine what that team would have looked like. What didn't you have, Cole?
I did not have the Giants beating the Colts. And I don't think a lot of Giants fans had the Giants beating the Colts. Drew Lock was unbelievable. Malik Neighbors was unbelievable. And even with Joe Flacco, I still would have expected the Colts to win that game. But what do you know? And it certainly wasn't Joe's fault that they gave up, 44 points or something like
45
that?
45 points. They gave up 45 points.
There you go.
I did not have Joe Flacco helping out the Browns in 2024.
Nice.
Because that interception, boy, that sealed things was a thank you, Mr. Flacco. Why he's one of my top 5 Browns of all time.
That is as much malfeasance organizationally as you can have. You went from number 1 pick overall, we can pick the quarterback we want, to having no control of your own destiny. If you want to take a quarterback, which, by the way, they were trying to take one last year if you watch in-season Hard Knocks. If you want to take a quarterback, you have to trade up to get the one that you want. I mean, that is as big a failure. I didn't have it either. I just assumed that they would lay down like dogs, and they didn't. And I don't understand how you could show up in the Meadowlands the next week if you are anybody in charge of that operation and say, oh, yeah, that's what we were intending to do. That was nuts. Absolute nuts, that result. You can't have Danny. What's the kid's name? Who was it? Not Locke, the other one. Who they had coming in.
Danny DeVito. No, Danny DeVito. Listen to me. Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Have his. If Tommy DeVito can't play quarterback, then have his agent, Sean Stiletto. Have that guy play quarterback. You have to make sure that you do not win. You have to be sure. You do not let Malik Neighbors play. Like, what are you doing? Come up with a hamstring injury. Player who impressed, Cole.
I got to give to Jaden Daniels, of many players who impressed, and his stats do not overwhelm, but this is now back-to-back weeks where he's come up with some big plays in some big spots as a rookie, and a very crucial win, and they got to clinch.
5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for Baker Mayfield, and this is a moment where I will let Browns fans know that he was not this in Cleveland. He was not going to be this in Cleveland. I don't believe, while you can pile on the Browns for many things, this isn't one of them.
The Carolina Panthers had Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
Both will start next season for the teams they are currently on.
And both were benched for P.J. Walker.
Correct. And they let them both go. and then gave up 3 first-round picks to take Bryce Young. They had them both on those rosters. And you're right, Baker would not have been this had he stayed in Cleveland. He was broken. And I think both him and Darnold had to go through the Shanahan School of Quarterback Resuscitation, and for Baker, it was Sean McVay who got him right, got him believing again, and it flipped it. Joe Burrow's unbelievable. Jamar Chase is unbelievable. T. Higgins is unbelievable. I also want to give a little bit of shine to Michael Penix. I do not understand their offseason plan at all in Atlanta, how they decided to get Cousins for what appears to be like insurance while always having their eye on Penix. But Penix can play. He made the touchdown to Kyle Pitts. That is a monster, big-time throw. He was on top of my Heisman ballot a year ago. Really liked him as a college player. He was really good watching him. That was a fun game on Sunday night. Player who disappointed, Cole. Who do you got?
Cade York. Those poor Bengals fans have had enough already this year with Evan McPherson. Enter from stage left, Cade York, who put the fear of God in them. Now, it worked out in the end, but I can't even imagine, because I too was at a hibachi restaurant. So me and my brother were...
Could have been the same joint.
Yeah, me and my brother were going through the play-by-play on the ESPN app, just kind of following along, not watching it. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be a Bengals fan in that moment. Worked out, but man.
So what I said was, I don't care if they're on the 2-yard line. I do not let him attempt that kick because of the brown scar tissue. I would have been... Burrow, go win it. We are not kicking a field goal, no matter where we are. Unless it's 4th and 17 from the 27, we are not kicking a field goal.
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I am disappointed in C.J. Stroud, just how he's played over the past couple. He was fine against the Chiefs up until Nico Collins goes out, and then you just see the emotion, and you wonder yourself, how can he bounce back from that? And
Tank Dell, you mean?
Tank Dell, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed with how Stroud's played, but I'm just disappointed in how the season has gone for the Texans. Just with everything that's happened from an injury standpoint, with his offensive line that has forced him to get the ball out quicker, that has forced him into bad habits that it doesn't feel like he's been able to break. The season can't end soon enough for the Texans, it feels like, and yet they're still alive for a playoff spot.
I love him to death. He was so bad against the Ravens. The stuff they were layups. And he was missing layups. It's crazy. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, that's probably as inept a quarterback performance as I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of inept quarterback performances. 3 roughing the passers. Not all of them were on him. In fact, the screen 100% was not. It was on Pierre Strong. But that was as incompetent a quarterback play as I've ever seen in what you saw on Sunday against Miami. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got, Cole?
I got Kevin O'Connell. That was a legit win against a playoff team. They controlled the game and made the Packers kind of play catch-up against them. They held pace throughout the game, and now I guess I'm a believer again. So we'll see what happens next week as they fight for the 1 seed. But I was pretty impressed with what I saw in Minnesota.
Dan Campbell, you maniac.
He is a maniac.
3 times he went for it on 4th down, 2 of 3 for the Lions last night, doing hook and ladder plays for scoring touchdowns, playing your starters in a game that nobody else said matters except you. You say it matters. Your team believes that it matters. And now you've got a chance to. They're 8-0 on the road. I didn't know, which is a franchise record. 14 wins in a season was most than Matt Patricia's dumbass ever had when he was coach of the Lions. So it's incredible job that he has done.
Yeah. We had Zagura and I had Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Andrew Berry on the morning they found out J.J. McCarthy was lost for the year. They had joint practices up in Cleveland. We had him on the show, and we were talking to him, and it was kind of like presiding over a funeral because J.J. was going to play those joint practices with the idea that he was going to start week 1. And it is Kevin O'Connell's the long and short of it. But the reality is the fact that team is 14-2, with Sam Darnold, who now, I agree with you, will be back next year. Are they in this position now where, with a quarterback-needy draft that isn't there, would you put McCarthy up for raffle?
Absolutely.
And get the 5th pick in the draft from the Giants for J.J. McCarthy? I probably would. I probably would do that. So they have a lot of flexibility now with what's happened with Darnold. Top 3, Cole. Who are your top 3?
I'm not entirely sure, but I landed on Chiefs, then Bills, then Vikings.
Despite my love for Dan Campbell, I've got them 4th. I've got Bills, Eagles, Ravens.
think that the quarterback stuff in Philly is tricky. Detroit's overall lack of depth is why I have them on the outside looking in. I still have Kansas City 1. I have Buffalo 2. I'm going to go Minnesota 3, but if Minnesota played Baltimore right now, I think I would take Baltimore.
I agree.
This is going to be an incredible postseason in the NFL, is the long and short of it. A lot of really, really good teams. Super Bowl right now, Cole, who do you got?
I got Chiefs over Vikings.
I got Chiefs over Eagles.
I got to know more about Hurts before I can go Philly. I'm going to go. I got KC, and I'm going to go KC and Detroit for right now. I think the NFC is just wide open, truly wide open. Like if Detroit loses this week, I mean, Tampa Bay got him in the past. Would you be surprised if they went out to Tampa Bay and lost him, and Mike Evans had 162 yards and 3 touchdowns with no corners?
No,
it's in play.
I didn't have the Chiefs in my top 3, but it's for the same reason that you're talking about Evans and Baker and Tampa. Like, the football Wizards got a high ankle sprain. Didn't look like it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. So it's going to be a wide open NFL playoffs. That is for sure. We'll turn our attention back to the Rose Bowl tomorrow between the Buckeyes and the Ducks. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Make the most of your holidays with the Kroger app. You can enjoy over $600 in digital coupons every week. Get access to low prices and earn fuel points to save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. The Kroger app makes it easy to save this holiday season. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $1.49 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Anthony, and the Happy Honda Days are powering through the holidays at Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich is delivering all of the new Honda toys, including the new Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda at 0% APR up to 72 months. Also, he's throwing you 0.9% up to 60 months on most new Hondas. And he won't even require a payment on the new purchases for 90 days. Go get the Honda of your holiday dreams with my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270.
After years of practice, QC Kinetics medical director and founder of Grant Sports Medicine, Dr. Ray Tesner, is still amazed at the body's ability to heal and provide relief for itself.
To a certain extent, we've always understood or been amazed by the wonders of the human body and the capabilities that we have as human beings to heal ourselves, and being able to use those tools that God gave us and condense them and use them as opposed to synthetic materials.
QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments have helped deliver long-term relief to aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs around the country, but especially right here in Dublin and Gahanna.
The materials that our body has are the most effective and the safest to use, so being able to concentrate those and deliver those in a concentrated form to the direct area of problem only makes sense, and it's a nice tool to have.
Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Hey friends, Beamer here. You know what sold me on Awaken 180 weight loss? Losing 12 pounds in my first week. I mean, wouldn't you be all in after that? But you know what's really got me completely hooked? I'm now down 19 pounds in just 2 weeks. 19 pounds. Look, when I started the program, I knew that I needed fast results to stick with any program I was going to do. And I thought, hey, if I can lose 5 or 10 pounds in 2 weeks, that's going to be a win. Well, I blew that out of the water, all thanks to Awaken 180. I'm not the only one who did it. Our good friend Austin Ward, he dropped 17 pounds in his first 2 weeks, 50 pounds overall. The results we're having, they are real, and we did it without meds. We did it by eating to lose weight with the coaching to ensure we lose weight every week. More importantly, to ensure that we enjoy the process. I, for one, certainly am. I mean, who wouldn't want someone else to do the work? They plan out the food you like, work around your schedule, and you, well, you lose weight. Simple as that. I dropped 19 pounds in 2 weeks. It's that easy. Do what we all did. Start your year out with the solution for weight loss, all at awaken180weightloss.com.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution, because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking scattered showers throughout the afternoon today. Today's high temperature will be around 50. A few snow flurries possible tonight. If you're heading out for any New Year's Eve plans, dress warm as temperatures will dip down to around 34 tonight. Wednesday, snow flurries, high 38. Thursday, partly sunny, high 34. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Bucks and Ducks tomorrow. God's football field in Pasadena. College football playoff quarterfinal. Winner goes on to the semifinal, where they'll take on the winner of Texas and Arizona State in Dallas a week from Friday. So that's kind of the setup of this thing as this goes forward. I'm curious. My hunch is they'll try to treat that like the Cotton Bowl too, and try to treat the other one as the Orange Bowl too. You'll still have the guys in the coats and all of that stuff. It'll just be for a shorter amount of time. The Rose Bowl, my favorite part of the Rose Bowl, it's interesting. I have such a different relationship with the Rose Bowl from when I was a kid than anybody growing up here would, from the standpoint of the Rose Bowl was one that looked pretty and the game rarely mattered when I was a kid. The big game, the national championship game, was primarily in the orange, the sugar, or the fiesta, because this was always locked in Pac-10, Big Ten. And so when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, that almost never had any consequence on anything. And the first one I remember watching thinking, well, there's a chance that this could have something to do with the national title was 94, when Penn State was undefeated and won the Rose Bowl game, and they had to wait out Nebraska, and then they didn't give Penn State a share of the national title at all that year. The first one that it was like, okay, now you got then. So that was the first one in my memory was like, okay, the winner here, this could be consequential. And then the next time it was consequential in terms of the national picture was 97 when Charles Woodson beat my buddy Ryan Leaf. And that was one where they did get a share of the national title with Nebraska, ironically enough, in 1997. But it really wasn't until the bowl championship series became real that you had it where it could be in rotation for a national title. And the most famous one, of course, is the Texas USC game a game that would never take place in the previous era. There's no chance of those two teams playing in that game. But it is something that they have fought tooth and nail to hold on to what tradition they have for it. That's why it starts at 5. That's why the television schedule's all messed up. Obviously, ESPN would rather show this thing at 4 o'clock. Much rather. But the kick's the kick, and the Rose Bowl still has a lot of lobbying power, and so they're able to do it. What was your guys', I'm guessing Cole's relationship with it isn't at all like mine, because do you even remember a time where it was Pac-12, Big Ten?
Yeah. So obviously growing up, that was it, but with the championship year with the Texas and USC definitely stood out as one of them, and that was like one of the first biggest games of my life as a kid. But yeah, I remember Ohio State, Oregon. What would that have been? 2010 or 2011, something like that.
Yeah, I was at that one.
It was 2010.
Yeah, so I remember a lot of that. Wisconsin got in there a lot because Ohio State was eventually advancing.
That's the other part of it.
Beyond the Rose Bowl. So yeah, but also just with a lot of my childhood, eventually it got to the point where there were just greater pastures beyond, because we have reached a point where it's not just the biggest deal to win your region. There is actually a way for you to have total supreme dominance over the entire country. And so the Rose Bowl is more of like a cute traditional thing, but it's kind of just that.
I remember it was the 96 season, and it had been the 97 Rose Bowl when they faced Arizona State. That for me, it was such a big deal because you had lost to Michigan that year. I think it was like 13-9 or something similar. And Ohio State was picked to go. And that being like a national championship. And like that win for John Cooper in that era was such a sigh of relief, despite what had happened, in games against the rivalry. But yeah, and I think that might have been the last time the Buckeyes played in the Rose Bowl for a couple of years, until I think it might have been the Oregon game. But because it was the BCS.
Yeah. I mean, there's a stretch there. That's why 96 was such a big deal. And I was in Montana at the time as a kid, but I do remember the idea of Ohio State hadn't been there in forever when they got there in 96. Like, for me, it was a steady diet of Michigan. It was just Michigan. Like, I remember whether it was Bo Schembechler, Gary Moeller, Lloyd Carr. Like, it was just a steady diet of Rose Bowl as a kid for Michigan. And sometimes the games were good, sometimes they weren't. I take that back. I do remember Washington, and Washington got a share of the national title with Miami, I want to say in 91 or 92. And there was, that was a share of it, where there was a little bit of a share of it. Yeah, so here's the stretch from the Buckeyes' perspective. In terms of the Rose Bowl, the Buckeyes play in the Rose Bowl. It's 97, but it's a 96 season, to Reese's point. The previous Rose Bowl appearance previous to that was at the end of the 84 season. They went 12 years in between Rose Bowls. Did not play again from 96. Did not play again until 2010. So that was another 15 seasons in between Rose Bowl appearances. And then again, it's a long stretch where you don't play it again until you played against Washington. Boy, that's a tough one to even remember. In 18 was the Washington Rose Bowl game, and then again in the Utah game. Remember that one very, very well. But yeah, it's to Cole's point. There was a time in Reese growing up when you did, and growing up where I did, where this is just what it was. But for the majority of my time covering the Buckeyes, you didn't want to play in the Rose Bowl because that means you weren't in the national championship game. In most years, means you weren't in the mix.
Yeah, just the 90s, you were just trying to get over Michigan. You were trying to make it to the Rose Bowl because that, again, for outside of the 96 season, that meant you had beaten Michigan, and we all know how that went.
And for me, too, another thing, and I guess this is the Notre Dame fan in me, the conference-less Notre Dame fan. But for me growing up, the BCS Bowls were all kind of even. So even if you didn't win your conference, if you were still an at-large to go somewhere else, that still kind of felt like you were on equal footing and playing for something that was about equal importance. I'm not sure Ohio State fans would necessarily feel that same sentiment, but just watching independently, and certainly my Fighting Irish could go anywhere because they weren't in a conference because they had no affiliation. But that was something, too, where it's like there was no pedigree in terms of Sugar Bowl versus Rose Bowl versus Orange Bowl. Like, they were all kind of just one collective. You want to be in here.
I know it felt like if you won the Rose Bowl, you were national champion, at least in this area.
Yeah.
Like that was the pinnacle, regardless of what voters had said, because you would just pick a national champion, that people were just handing out national champions.
Absolutely. And it was a stated goal of Woody. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, go to the Rose Bowl. That's the deal. Like, that was part of it. To your guys' point, like, you got to remember that the original BCS games were the Orange, the Sugar, the Fiesta, and the Rose. And it was only when Atlanta added the Mercedes-Benz Dome and when Jerry built Jerry World that the Cotton Bowl and the Peach Bowl got lumped in. The Cotton Bowl wasn't on this list. The Cotton Bowl doesn't have this type of pedigree like these other ones. Neither does the Peach Bowl. The Peach Bowl and the Cotton Bowl were in line with the Citrus Bowl and the Gator Bowl. That's where they were. But they built new stadiums, and then it elevated those two bowls. From a best to go-to standpoint, it is the Sugar Bowl. I enjoy New Orleans for a short period, so I'm a little biased. But here's the reason I think it's the Sugar Bowl. It's all walkable. You're going to get a hotel in New Orleans. You can do in the Quarter, Garden District, whatever, and you can walk anywhere you need to go. So from that perspective, the Sugar Bowl wins. It's a very accessible, big-time bowl game. The Orange Bowl isn't accessible at all. The stadium's in the middle of nowhere. The stuff is all over South Florida. Like, some of the media stuff is in Fort Lauderdale. The team stuff is down Miami Beach. You're in Miami, which is awesome, but other than that, there's no real sense of community to the Orange Bowl at all. The Fiesta Bowl is amazing, and they probably go above and beyond to treat fans and media the best, but it's spread out too in that you spend most of your time in Scottsdale and then the game's in Glendale. In the old days, when you were played at Sun Devil Stadium, that's fine. But when they moved it to Glendale, that's 45 minutes from where you are, where your base is for much of the week. The Rose Bowl is awesome, but you just got to deal with LA traffic. And you're kind of spread out all over Southern California. Cotton Bowl is the same. It's just Dallas, and Dallas is a lovely city, but like, it's not any place you're really jacked up to spend January. And I assume Atlanta is similar to that. It's just a big city. So that's kind of the pecking order of the three of them. But I think the big takeaway, talking about this, and obviously we'll talk about the matchup and all of that tomorrow, the big takeaway for me is the Rose Bowl has fought like heck to keep all of it the same. And when you turn it on tomorrow, it's going to feel like that. It's going to look like it. It's going to have a feel to it. It's going to have all of that to it. They still have their piece of nostalgia, and they just are so stubborn and they won't move off of it. And I think ideally when they move the calendar back, the Rose Bowl becomes kind of like a standard national semifinal game. I mean, that would probably be ideal if you played the national semifinals in the Sugar Bowl or whatever, and the Rose Bowl tonight, and then the national championship game is Monday. Play a national championship game next week, or even the Monday after. Fine. I think once that gets sorted out, I think you're going to have something that makes a little bit more sense. The Jackets back on home ice tonight, a New Year's Eve edition against Carolina. It's a late puck drop, which leads me to believe that there will be some festivities. We'll get the details on all of that and the team. A little bit of Shelley time coming your way next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
'Tis the season to raise a little Cane with Raising Cane's. Spread joy with craveable chicken finger meals and treat everyone on your nice list to a Cane's gift card or our beanies, socks, mugs, and more. Happy holidays from Raising Cane's. One love.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Tri-State Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The gloves. Shelley time.
Oh, indeed it is. And he joins on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. A little bit of Shelley time. Jackets hosting the Canes tonight, 8 o'clock on the puck drop. Did you have a good Christmas, buddy?
Yeah, it was good. It was nice. It was quick, you know?
Yeah.
But it was great just to kind of hang out and eat.
Yeah, you
and have a couple days to just kind of enjoy the quietness. Would have loved a little snow, but
yeah,
didn't get it. How about you? Did you stay in Ohio?
Yeah, not bad. This college football thing's screwing my whole break, buddy, because these games are in the middle of the week. So there's no way to get away from anything. Like I'm locked in. I got to be here. It's the way it's got to go.
Oh, you love it.
I do. I love the games, but I like them when they're on the weekends, so I can have a little bit of, you do a little bit of time away. It's nice to sneak away this time of year.
Right.
Do you your favorite New Year's Eve ever, as a kid, as a player, as an adolescent? Is there one that jumps out? How big was New Year's Eve for you as a kid?
It was big. I mean, my parents were big, they're very social people.
Yeah. So
we always had a crowd around. They're from Newfoundland, an island off the east coast of Canada. So,
yeah,
it's the people out there. If you've ever heard, all they do is tell jokes about themselves, laugh, dance, and party. Never, it's just a real fun group to be around. So, I just remember, being allowed to stay up that late and see my parents having a good time and everyone dancing and singing. And those were always fun when I was a kid. As an adult, I don't overdo it on New Year's. I kind of, just kind of get some friends together, have a good time, and say goodbye to that year and get excited. But nothing crazy. I think we were in Vegas one year as a team.
Now we're talking.
For New Year's. And, that might have been fun. Those clubs out there can get pretty wild at New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah, they can. Yeah, just depending on where you are, right? I've never done the New York thing. I've been in Vegas for New Year's Eve once, long time ago, and that's a scene. I've been a lot of Miami's fun. That's a fun place to spend New Year's Eve. Like they put on the big parties and all of those things. So there's some wins in that.
When I was in the East Coast Hockey League, I was playing for the Johnstown Chiefs, and we used to play against the Columbus Chill. That was back in 1999. And I went to the New Year's Eve ball drop. I was like 40 blocks away from the ball. Me and a bunch of guys went, and the way it works is you get put in a pen. So that block, they block off, and then they close the pen. You get a wristband for that pen. And then you can move throughout to go to the bathroom, whatever, throughout the day. I did that. I forgot
like
I did
cattle?
that. I did that in 1999. And
what are you talking about, a pen? Just explain to me. Like a pen like you hold cattle in?
Yes. So those metal gates? Those metal movable.
Sure.
So they gate off. So like today, it's got to already be starting where they're probably 30 blocks back from the ball. But all those, if you're there last night, I guess could be front row. But it's like once you're in the pen, you get your bracelet, you're in. And then the next block, they leave the streets open, but the block is blocked off, and that's where your territory is. It's wild. It was wild.
That is wild.
And of course, that's when it was changing to 2000, and we didn't know if we were going to get back to Johnstown, which unfortunately we did.
I tried to explain that to people who aren't old enough to remember how absolutely terrifying it was Y2K.
Oh yeah,
like we were all worried that
extra cash, from a cash machine, an extra $100 back then.
Sure.
Yeah, Yeah, it was quite, but nothing. It was very uneventful. But we saw the
It all
ball
went
jump
fine.
from a mile. It was great. Yeah.
Hey, I notice an 8:00 puck drop tonight. I'm guessing that's for incredible purpose and meaning that there's going to be a bit of a celebration tonight. Am I reading that right?
It's for the Winter Classic. So usually the Winter Classic is on January 1st, but with everything going on with college football, I think they moved it to. That's why they moved it to New Year's Eve. So the Winter Classic, there's games all day today, starting at noon.
Yeah,
so
12:30 looks like. Yeah,
12:30. There's a game today, and it goes right through. And then the Winter Classic is St. Louis and Chicago. That's from 5 to 8. That's the window. So that's that game, and then at 8 the games start after that. So that's why they've done that. And then after that tonight, since it's an 8:00 start, and they've done this before at Nationwide Arena, indoor fireworks. So
that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, so that'll be after. So we'll probably be done at 10:45, and then they'll do the fireworks right away, and that gives you, a half hour to race home and pop a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, that's a win. At Wrigley again, you mentioned Blues and Blackhawks. They've been at Wrigley a lot. They've done Fenway a lot. I was reading something this morning about the Winter Classic and the NHL, like trying to find the way to thread that needle. What do the players still love it? Is it something that they should monkey with, or just leave it as it is? And obviously, as you mentioned, they moved it to Tuesday. Forever it was, or I'm sorry, not Tuesday, New Year's Eve. Forever it was New Year's Day. Where do you sit with it? And are there places that haven't had it that ought to?
Yeah, I like the small baseball parks the best. I think that's what they're starting to figure out, is those steep, small venues makes it a little more intimate for the fans. Because, the first one was in Edmonton, in the outdoor football stadium there. And, you are probably 100 yards from the edge of the arena in those football stadiums that just seem to go away from the field. You know what I mean? So I love the old classic. Everybody does. I was part of the one in Philadelphia when they had it at Citizens Bank Park. It was a Rangers-Flyers. And the best part of it for a player, which after 3 or 4 days it gets to be a lot, is the family, the nostalgia, the different aspect of, changing in a baseball locker room. I actually spent the game in the sauna of the Citizens Bank Park Arena, baseball field, because it was freezing. I saw the whole pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
And then me and a couple guys, I wasn't playing, so we sat in the sauna of the Phillies clubhouse and watched the game from there. With a couple cool ones. So
that's a win.
It's the whole dynamic of the elements and everybody there and everyone loving being there. It's a really, and you'll see it here on March 1st with the Blue Jackets outdoor game at Ohio Stadium. Yeah. It's a spectacle. And when the league drops in on a city, it's a massive event. And it's unique, but I think for the players, they love it because it's a time of family, friends, and kind of a break from the everyday grind where you're on the bus in the bottom of arena, then you leave. This is a whole event for these guys. They skated yesterday with their families. There was photos with families. Nick Foligno's the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. You feel kind of the appreciation for the whole event.
I remember the one they did with Philly and Pittsburgh was awesome because HBO did like a road to the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
That was great. I love that.
Yeah, we did that too. That's fun.
Yeah. That's
a fun series. They did a really good job with the access to that.
They did. Yeah. I remember Claude Giroux being incredibly impressed with just how, I have no idea what he is personally or not, but being impressed with the way he was kind of shown in that. And it seemed like pretty good dude to follow around.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah. What do you expect tonight as we return to home ice on a little New Year's Eve against the Canes, buddy?
Well, the Jackets have been very good at home ice. I expect to win. I do. I think that, they feel themselves in a race. They are at 36 points right now, and that's just behind Pittsburgh, who is now, you wake up, they're in a wild card position. So all of the spinning that they did earlier in this season, they're there. And that's kind of the summary of this season. The East has been really clogged up. Carolina's pretty solid in third place. They're a good team, but the Blue Jackets, they have an element to their game that they can win this game at home tonight. There's a lot of great momentum at home, and especially these New Year's Eve games at Nationwide Arena, they're always circled first on the calendar, I think, by the fans, because it's a great and it's a wild atmosphere. So I think home ice advantage takes over tonight.
This has been, I mean, you think about the last 2 times out, you're combined 11 goals, Jode. I mean, gosh, even before that Jersey back on the 19th, it was 4. Like, in a year when you are building, I'm not going to say rebuilding, but you are building towards something, when you can award the home fans, that's doing it right. And they have, last 3 times out, very, very impressive.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they're the top team, one of the top teams in the league of goals from defensemen. So everyone's involved. They understand the pace they got to play with. It's so fun. You think about the games so far this season for the Blue Jackets. They've played 37 games, and I can circle 5 at least or 6 at home that have been just incredible entertainment and fight to the end. You know what I mean? Comeback victories, late goals, big saves. And that seems to always come out at New Year's. So there's a lot of excitement with this around this team. The power play has been confident, except for last game in Boston. But to me, that's almost a scheduled loss on a back-to-back where come out of the break, you win the first one, you get the split. Okay, forget what you did. Now get back to playing that high-pace hockey.
Who's in net tonight? Do we know?
Elvis Merzlikins.
Back in. Okay. Good.
Yeah. He's the number 1.
All right. Good to see. Good to see. Hey, Happy New Year to you and your family. We having it on tonight. Take a little watch as we prepare to get our champagne and stuff ready. So appreciate you working on New Year's Eve, buddy, and Happy New Year to you.
All right, buddy. Happy New Year to you and all your listeners. Go Jackets.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Absolutely. A little bit of Shelley time with you on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We get you 3 things on a New Year's Eve. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Through the magic of modern technology, I'm coming to you from inside your garbage disposal.
Hey, what are you doing down here?
I was telling folks about Who are you?
Garbage disposal monster. I eat the things people put in here. Nom 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 nom.
Oh?
Sometimes I get sick.
I was just about to say, the pros who knows from Apex are brilliant at fixing garbage disposals. You're really a monster?
Ah, look here. These teeth?
Yeah?
They're all busted.
Oh.
They're for food, not forks. You hear up there?
Gee, what else?
Crazy noises like clingety, 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 clingety. Call Apex Pros.
Sure.
Sometimes I smell funny.
I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Call Apex Pros.
And what's going on now there?
Smoking. It's a bad habit. We're not supposed to smoke.
Well, you heard it straight from the garbage disposal monster. Call the pros who knows. Apex Pros.
Hi, it's Alex, the Apex Bear. We are the pros who knows, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Nom, 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 nom.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Flat Auto Glass. When you look at Caleb Downs, what he's done both on the back end of the defense as well as a punt returner, is it just expand all of the pluses that he brings to your football team, Ryan?
Well, during the process of talking to him about coming to Ohio State, we talked about some of the different opportunities that he could have on the field, and he wanted to make an impact on the field. And at one point during the season, I asked him, do you feel like, you're ready to take on punt return and everything else that's going on? And he looked at me and said, I feel like I'm not having enough of an impact. I said, well, we'll get you back there. And, he's made his presence felt back there. But also every game he's involved with our defense. Every week he's getting more and more prepared. You can see he's more and more comfortable playing. And so he had a huge part, in our last week's win. He's going to have a huge hand in this defensive game plan in terms of how we're going to handle that, because Oregon does a great job with their formations, their tempos, and spreading you out. So the safeties are stressed out in a lot of different areas. So his play will be critical to this win.
We'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
And asking you about Caleb Downs, Ryan, Lathan Ransom, with what he's done for a long period of time, and pairing him with Caleb Downs, has that been just a big strength of this back end of this defense?
I feel both of those guys bring energy to the table, consistently, and that's a decision that has to be made. You have to say, I'm going to consistently bring energy to the table, and whether it's when they're on the field or even when they're off the field, supporting their teammates, and that matters. But I think Caleb and Lathan both play off each other very well. I think they communicate very well. When you're safeties, you have to be on the same page in terms of how you adjust the formations and motions and work off of each other. I think they have a great relationship, and they're playing at a high level.
There's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
It's back January 10th through 19th at the Ohio Expo Center. The Ohio RV and Boat Show, brought to you in part by Park National Bank. 3 enormous buildings with dealers that have brought the best selection of RVs, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, golf cars, and more. Wide open aisles, tons to see, fun for all. The Ohio RV and Boat Show at the Ohio Expo Center, January 10th through 19th. From towables to drivers, jet skis to pontoons, and more. It's all here. Join the fun. One-stop competitive shopping. Get tickets online at OhioRVandBoatShow.com.
Football is all about winning, and so is the Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. With 4 dealerships and a collision center, we've got everything you need to stay game day ready. Don't forget our Carvenience service, the most convenient way to service your vehicle. We pick it up, drop off a rental, and we bring it back to you when it's done. Plus, every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Hinderer Motor Company, where convenience and confidence meet. Visit HindererMotorCompany.com. We love what moves you.
Get ready for the day with 10 TV News this morning.
Our 10 weather impact forecast is easy to understand and focus on when, where, and how the weather will impact you.
Time saver traffic, getting you to work on time.
Plus, the latest breaking news from overnight and what's trending right now.
We're always looking to keep you and your family safe, to save you money and keep you healthy.
This is Morning News on your time. It's time for 10 TV News this morning. Live and streaming on 10 TV Plus.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The daily fan poll, the final fan poll of 2024, asks, will you be staying up until at least midnight tonight on New Year's Eve? 38% say I'll try, but not sure. 33% say yes, definitely. 28% say no way.
You have to, at my age, you have to make a decision. So if I stay up tonight, because we're doing the show tomorrow, that'll come pretty early. I can definitely do it, but it'll come early. And there's no way I'm going to get through Georgia Notre Dame tomorrow. So I can either do New Year's Eve and celebrate with the family and do a toast and all of the things you're supposed to do, or I can watch a football game by myself tomorrow night. Knowing myself the way I do, I think it's going to be the latter. And I'll go to bed around 11. And they'll stay up, and then I'll watch the game. That's my hunch. Are you guys going to make it?
No.
I'm not in tomorrow, so yeah.
Yeah, you can make it. You're cruising. And
then tomorrow I got Notre Dame and Georgia, so I'll make it past midnight tomorrow, too.
2 nights in a row. You're out there living. You're young. Hi. All right, 3 things on a New Year's Eve. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me, happy 9th birthday to Bootsy. His last year in the single digits. He was born on New Year's Eve 9 days ago. Got me a nice little tax credit at the end of the year. Good timing out of him on that. I very much appreciate that. He is not pleased that I'm working today. And normally I don't. Normally I'm off today. So he is basically, from my wife, what my wife has told me, he has been pissed off all morning that he's had to wait until after this show for him to be able to open his presents. So he will finally get his wish here in 10 minutes. That's where we're at.
You should take it up with the college football commissioner. Just tell him that there is one and that he should take all of his stuff up with him. Yeah. Kevin Stefanski met with Browns media a couple of minutes ago, and he still might be speaking with them, but he says they're going to work through the quarterback situation this week.
God's sake.
From Stefanski, quote, certainly a chance I could play Bailey and Dorian in this game.
This would be my advice to them. Like, just tell them. You're 3-13. It doesn't matter. Just tell them which guy you're going to start. It doesn't matter.
Saquon is 101 yards away from breaking the single-season rushing record. For those of you good at math, that means he's 100 away from tying it. And, of course, this is a 17-game season, and as you may know, the record is currently held from a 16-game season. Eric Dickerson in 1984 ran for 2105. Did you know that he didn't even win the MVP that year? He finished second because there were also some records broken by a fella named Dan Marino who threw for 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a hell of a year, man. Number 2 for me, this is the first show I've done since last Monday, and I got to tell you, with all of these sports, the NFL being played on Wednesday and Thursday and Saturday and Sunday and college football mixed in between. First of all, I've not seen a second of college football in this, none of it. Like, it's totally lost. The NFL has annihilated it in terms of where I'm paying attention to over the course of the last week or so. But you could convince me today was Sunday, and I'd believe you. Truly, like, I have no concept of what day it is with the way that the holidays fell in, juxtaposed to the college football games. I have been lost in a daze for 10 days. No clue what day it is.
These past 2 weeks with the holiday falling in the middle have thrown not just me, but it feels like everyone in my neighborhood off on when trash gets picked up.
Yes.
So also double check your civic calendars for that. I finished the second season. My girlfriend and I finished the second season of Squid Game the other night and then just needed a palate cleanser. I would recommend Squid Game if you haven't dabbled into it. So watch your friend Nate Bargatze.
Oh, he's funny.
He's tremendous. I'm super impressed with anybody who can, A, do stand-up in front of that many people, but do it while not swearing.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a bit on his father and Efren that hit real close to home for me.
The amount of press that Ryan Day and Dan Lanning have to do for this thing is just downright ridiculous, as they are both at the podium right now. And we will have the sound and we'll play it probably on this show tomorrow in preparation for the game. I mean, these two are even more overexposed in media than Jason Kelsey and Jelly Roll. Like, I know that this is just what these two signed up for. It just comes with the job.
But the dog and pony show leading up to this game, like I actually somewhat feel bad for them because this is just not where their focus is right now.
It's so stupid. They basically jammed what is normally 7 days worth of media into 3 days.
And how different could it possibly be? They're just going to say the same things on every single outlet.
No, there's nothing else they could say. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody out there. Number 3 for me. For me, New Year's Eve as a kid involved a sparkling cider or grape juice, Totino's pizza rolls, and a movie. We would get to go to the movie store and pick one movie to watch. We'd watch the movie, and then the last hour lead up to the ball drop. And in Mountain Time, that's kind of money. You win pretty good on that side of things. So Happy New Year, kids.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of the Happy New Year's wish to everybody out there. Thank you so much for making us part of your lives in 2024. Hopefully that continues in 2025. Happy New Year's to everybody except for Michigan. They play Alabama in a couple minutes in the ReliaQuest Bowl. I hope the Crimson Tide destroy the Wolverines. A perfect way for at least me to round out the year.
By the way, Alabama and Michigan played on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl to start the year, and now they're playing in a bowl game to end the year. So we're doing it all over again. But if you're not tired of OSU and Oregon talk, Rothman and I's got you covered because we got a game tomorrow, and they're going to break it down every which way. And they will not be on the air tomorrow because we will have pregame shows starting at 11:30. So this is your last chance to hear them leading into the game.
There you go. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Happy New Year's, everybody. We're back tomorrow, live at 9, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com. Use the promo code JustSports for a welcome bonus of up to $100. Your 4 college football playoff lines. Penn State's a 10.5-point favorite over Boise State. Texas is a 13.5-point favorite over Arizona State. The Buckeyes are a 2.5-point favorite over Oregon. And Georgia's a 1.5-point favorite over Notre Dame. For your Prime Sports Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Tri-State Men's Health today. Because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Tri-State Men's Health will give you back your sex life. Because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward here, and last time this year I was down 43 pounds after just 2 months with Awaken 180. I broke into the new year at my goal of 50 pounds down. It felt great, and it still does. Get the same results at awaken180weightloss.com.
Come on, Mufasa, let's get in some trouble.
This holiday season, destiny awaits you. You can grab your friends and experience Mufasa the Lion King in 3D.
Everything the light touches belongs to me.
You'll have to take it. Don't miss the perfect family Christmas movie.
Now went swimmingly, if I say so myself.
Disney's Mufasa the Lion King.
Oh, yeah, that looks good.
Now playing only in theaters. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Tickets on sale now.
Hey, I'm Brett Podolsky, co-founder of The Farmer's Dog. We make fresh food for dogs. We started the company when we saw what a huge difference it made in my own dog, Jada, when she stopped eating ultra-processed kibble and started eating fresh, whole food. The Farmer's Dog food isn't fancy. It's just real food, delivered to your door in pre-portioned packs. It's better for them and easier for you.
Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/trial50. That's thefarmersdog.